Where it stops, no one knows. We're going headed into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome back to Criminality, or if this is your first time here, welcome to Criminality. Today, we are going to be talking about the Delphi trial. We have finished day 8 of testimony, and we do have somebody who is in the courtroom who is going to be joining us. You guys are all very familiar with Julie, so she should be coming on soon. Sluthy will also be joining us. We've heard from a few people who were in the courtroom today that it was a very interesting testimony given by Jerry Holman. I don't even know what to say. They expected they were going in to hear from a DNA person today, and then the prosecution decided to call Jerry Holman. But I'll let Julie tell us that, from her notes what happened in court. So thank you guys for being here. I know. Oh, Holman, this guy. This is your lead investigator. Your big shot, and gets promoted. And I most likely will be getting promoted very soon after this trial is over, in my opinion, because Doug Carter is going to be retiring. And the guy doesn't know much about his own case. So we'll see. We'll see. Let me say hi to you guys, and hopefully Julie will be joining us and Sluthy will be joining us. And we can talk about everything that happened today in day 8. He's not going to get them. They freaking promoted him. Why is that? Oh, that's why I'm like, what is that on my screen? They freaking promoted him while the hearings were happening in this case, and then, like I said, I think he's going to get promoted. I do. They encourage this kind of behavior. So, hi Bella, what's up, Rebecca? Hi Gianna. Hi Andre. Let's see. Yes, very interesting. Hi T in chat. Julie was there. Yeah, so she's going to come on. She's like, can you go live? And I'm like, I'm driving home. I'm not even home yet. Let me get there. Judge Jessica, what's up, Peggy? Hi, Susan. I keep saying it, but after Liggett's horrible showing, Holman said, hold my beer. Hold my beer. Let me take the stand. Hi, Hammy. No way they didn't prep this man for hours last night. If from what I'm hearing, it happened in the courtroom today, they should have been prepping him a lot longer than last night, because it's a disaster. But I'm sure that there's going to be 2 sides to that story. Hi, Veronica. What's up, Jamie? Hi, Teresa. Hi, Laura. What's up, Jen P? Hi, Dina. Shibby. Cocoa Puffs. Hi, Chris. Hi, Christine. What's up, True Crime Fangirl? Hi, other Jenny. What's up, Dragonfly? Did you see Bob talk about a certain person rubbernecking? I did see that. Hi, John. What's up, BGOG? Hi, BR. Thank you for being here, honey. What's up, Tony? Hi, Idaho Charlie. Hey, Caitlin. Hey, Shaz. Post Punk. Mama. Hi, Johnny. I don't know if I said hi to Johnny already. Hi, Andrew. All right, hold on. So here's Julie. Hi, everybody else who is in here. And you guys, thank you for joining us today. Hi, Hudis. Kyra Karen. Holy Schnikes. Justice Seeker, Helen, the Court of Public Opinion, other Jen. I've got a lot of Jens in here today. Normally we have a lot of Teresas. Now we got a lot of Jens. Hi, Kathy. Okay. Hey, Tammy. All right, so Julie's here. Oh, look at it. Julie, you are looking just like you are enjoying the sun.
And I am so cold today, so it's a little breezy, and I'm trying to absorb the sun sitting here on my deck. So It's nice and cozy because it's like 59 degrees, but the sun's out, so
I
I'm
was like,
trying
it
to
looks
get.
a lot warmer than 59 degrees. It looks nice and warm there.
It's probably warm right here in the sun, so that's why I'm sitting here, and my cat's sitting right here too.
Aw, kitty, getting some sun.
I wonder if I can put my ear. Can you guys hear me okay, or do I sound? You know this iPhone 15. It sounds like I have dentures. The sound
No,
is weird.
you don't sound like you have dentures to me.
Or does
So
anybody else? Does it sound like lispy or something?
anybody in chat want to answer that? Doesn't all the sound always sounds good on the back end of StreamYard, or most of the time it does.
Okay.
And sometimes the chat will say it like they're, they can hear echoes, or they can hear a difference in like our volume that I can't necessarily hear on the back end. So everybody in chat is saying you sound great. Nope, you're beautiful. You look great.
Oh,
You sound
okay.
great.
It's the sun. It's faking you
Yeah,
out.
Nancy's giving you shit and saying that you do have a lisp.
Who said that?
Nancy.
Nancy.
No,
Oh my goodness.
everybody's saying it sounds good.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you went back to court today. So you went and worked a 24-hour, and you were like, I'm going back. I'm a glutton for punishment. I've got to get in there and see what's going on.
I did. Okay. I want to just give a shout out to Justice Seeker. Last minute last night, I called her, and I'm like, hey, I'm one to pay. Everybody knows that. I will pay a pretty darn good price. Okay, if somebody stands in line for me, minimum of $50 an hour, and a lot of times I give a lot more than that. But she was so gracious to just do it last minute. She's got youngin, so she did do that for me, and she also got me the well, I guess Tara and Amanda came and handed out pizza to everybody at 3 o'clock in the morning.
They
Everybody that was
did.
in line, yes. And so she was there. And so they also handed out these bracelets. See the green bracelet? And it says Justice for Abby and Libby. She got me one. And I think she got Lawyer Lee one and Andrea one. Andrea Burkhart. That was very sweet of
Aww.
her. Yeah, that's Justice Seeker. And on this
Yeah,
bracelet.
Tara had posted on social media and was like telling anybody, if you're in the area and you are able to deliver like water or anything like that, to please stop by. That her and Amanda did. They stopped by and dropped off some food, and these bracelets. I'm like, that is just like, this is
So nice.
their family. That's so freaking nice to do.
So nice. So nice.
Yeah.
I did see that post, and I saw that she's like, hey, some of you guys have been mean to our family. um, but hey, we see your dedication to the girls. Nobody should ever have to experience this. And so yeah, it's kind of like, reaching out, and I'm hoping everybody gets unified. I think everybody was really good, has been good to each other. And things are settling down. I'm really happy to see that. I wanted to say on the back, on the other side of this bracelet, it's kind of like a quote from Luke 8:17, but basically it says, "May that which was done in the darkness be brought to light." And to that I say, Amen.
I put you on solo if you want to try to show it so they could see the bracelet.
Okay. So, do you see the? Can you see the pink? It's
Yeah. So it's
okay.
green, pink,
Just
Justice for Abby and Libby.
And then this other side is where, may that which is done in the darkness be brought to light. And they brought these bracelets too. And let me tell you one
Love
other
that.
thing. Once we got in, Becky I saw her go to the front of the line as we were waiting upstairs on the 3rd floor.
There's
And
my Abby Libby one.
oh, I love that. That's a neat color. I love
It's
that color.
forever in our
Kind of
heart.
matches your shirt.
It does kind of match my shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's blue and like aqua.
I love that. That's a beautiful color. When
Okay,
we
so
got
Becky.
so we got up to the top floor, and we were waiting in line, and I saw Becky over there talking to some people, and she got around. She got to me. She got to other people, and she looked at me, and she said, she gave it to everybody, but it was a very kind gesture, because I know it takes a lot for her to hand out uh something to someone that you think some bad things about, or have done some things and you don't know, and so all it's this stuff hanging over the head, and none of it's been resolved. But she offered a piece of banana bread, and she said that Derek made it, and I graciously accepted it, and so did other people, and we said thank you so much. And she gave it to everybody in line. So I just want to thank the family. I want to thank
Derek made
Tara.
banana bread.
Yes, Derek made banana bread. Wasn't that nice?
Man,
I know. The family has really been very,
so fucking awesome. That's so
yeah.
cool.
I that was it's touching. It's not about the food. It's the gesture and the kindness of almost saying, we're gonna forgive each other, and we're gonna reach across, even if it's hard. We're going to
Right.
do the right thing. And I thought that was a good moment. That was, to me, the best moment today. Aside
Anybody
from,
who doesn't like they have a lot of history. They've known each other personally for a long time. So I think it's also emotional for Julie, because it was like an olive branch for a relationship that she's had for many, many years. And even though things have been not up to par, throughout some of this case, but I think that's huge, and I think that's it's so awesome of Tara, Amanda, Becky, Derek. I mean, just like this is like when everybody's there to support their family, and they're like, no, we're gonna
reaching
bring
out to
you guys.
support.
Like,
Yeah.
that's really fucking
I'm
cool.
telling you what, God's working. God's working in this case, and in the lives of the people that are surrounding this case. That's what I got out of it. I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank you. I
Yeah,
I I can't say enough good things, and I just want to say thank you to
really
Becky and
cool.
Tara and Amanda and Derek and everybody, really, from the family.
Has Derek been going to the trial, or did he only go he only went at the beginning, right? He
Yeah.
only went when he had to testify. I figured
Yeah.
as much, as he does not like to be taking part in all of this stuff.
No, no, no. That's the only time that he went. But
But Tara, Amanda, they've been there, or like on and off have
yes.
both been there?
Oh, they.
Okay.
I've seen him there the whole time.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean, I haven't
Becky
been
and
there every
Mike,
day.
Anna, Diane and David,
Yes. Yes.
Kelsey.
And Anna, I didn't see Anna today. Kelsey's been there.
Kelsey's been there, and Carrie and her other two daughters.
Yes, yes. And Carrie's mom and her
Carrie's
husband,
mom.
her stepdad,
Okay.
um Josh and
Eric. Sorry, who
yeah.
dis? Yeah, Eric. I said David, not David Erskine.
No,
David's
we
dad,
know.
Eric.
Yeah, we know
Sorry.
Eric Erskine, yeah. And
Hmm.
then the length that Josh and Peyton
Thank
have
you.
been there. And I
Oh, Josh
think
and Peyton have been there too. So Josh is Tara's ex-husband and one of Tara's sons.
no, Josh Jr., excuse me.
Oh,
Josh
Josh
Jr. and
Jr. So
Peyton.
both the
Her,
sons.
her two sons. Yeah, her two sons.
Oh,
And
so
I don't
Whitney's
know.
cousins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were close. They were real close. So
What about Derek's other daughter?
I haven't seen her, Glenna.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I haven't seen her. I
You
saw
want
there
to
was another girl there, and I didn't know if it was if it was Amanda's daughter or if it was Josh Jr.'s girlfriend. I thought it was his girlfriend, but I don't know for sure.
who just does that? She thinks Glenna was there.
She thinks Glenna was there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Today or just in general, she's been there.
I haven't seen her.
She might
Maybe
look a lot older now. I mean, she was young.
true. Yeah. I mean, maybe she does. Yeah. I'm kind of going off of the old picture, so I don't know.
Right.
I haven't noticed any real bright redheaded. That's what I was thinking, but
Okay, so
maybe it's not.
she was there earlier this week, at least at some point
Oh,
when
earlier
Huda.
this week, yeah. Well, unfortunately, I was there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I had to work, and then I just thought I could have gone yesterday, but I was exhausted, so I went today, and because I
Yeah,
can't
no.
go any.
I would
Next
not. You
week,
would not have wanted to have been there yesterday anyway. They did 7 hours with fucking Melissa Oberg on toolmark stuff.
yeah,
Like,
I
talk about
saw.
wanting to go to sleep.
I
I
know
would have
Andrea
gone to bed.
Burkhart said it was like, you start as a head nodder. She said
I
it
would have
was
been able. I
very,
wouldn't have
very
been able to
long.
do it.
Yeah, very, very long. So I was fine with not being there. But next week,
This is Derek.
next
He
week,
doesn't. Derek has a full beard now. People in chat were asking him about what Derek looked like. Derek has a full beard now. So just
yeah,
FYI, but this is Derek.
yeah. He looks about, the
He
same
looks the
as,
same
yeah,
just with a beard.
yeah. And
It's like a full fresh beard.
he was wearing those overalls too. He twists them in back and then I don't know, hooks them up, and yeah, that's his thing. That's his style, his usual clothing. But
I'm
no,
still
it
getting
was.
that beard. It's been so long. Hi, honey. 21 months. I hope you're doing well.
Who is it?
My friend Muscles and Mascara is in chat.
Oh.
Okay, so you want to tell
Nice.
us, you went today, so we go in, and are you under the impression that you're going to be seeing a DNA person on the stand? Because that's kind of where they left it yesterday, but I didn't know if you knew that.
No, I had no idea who was going to be on the stand. And I just knew that they said there was going to be one witness, and that was it. The first thing that Luttrell did ask, he had to pass out the state's exhibits to the jury, and from yesterday, and those, like, the packets were like thick, like this. There's a ton, so it must have been all the pictures that Oberg put out there. And then Nick McClellan called Jerry Holman to the stand, and that's the only person on the stand today. Oh man, if right now the only thing I think after hearing this, they've got the confessions, but it's like, if you don't have enough to lead to the confessions, should the confessions be allowed? I'm sure they're going to allow it.
I'm sure that they're going to allow it, but definitely there should be, I mean, a request for a mistrial at some point here just a directed verdict. But they're not going to get it until after the state rests. They're not going to be able to even request it until after the state rests.
Yeah.
She's not going to give it to him anyway. But I mean, it just seems at this point that we're going. All the people who said that there was just going to be so much more stuff, I'm just like, where's all this other stuff? There's no other stuff. There's no other stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I heard that, but I'm like, tell me what it is. Like I always, that's kind of why I think, and you as well, and other people, we've been open-minded, just kind of like, okay, I don't know who did this. If he did it, then let's put it out on the table and let's see all the stuff you have. But at this point in time, what we know, I was always saying, I'm not sure. I mean, I wasn't convinced. Like, other people were like, oh, he did it. He did it. He did it. But look, the eyewitness statements, not one of them matched up to Richard Allen. And all of the eyewitness statements did match each other, but it was for somebody that was 5'10" and was younger and kind of had brown hair, a little bit curly hair, hair sticking out of the hat. That they all were consistent on that. But none of that doesn't match Richard Allen. So that
doesn't match Richard Allen.
Yeah, so I almost think maybe the eyewitnesses did see the killer, but that doesn't match Richard Allen. I always think they need to keep that in mind if this ends up totally, acquitted, not guilty verdict. So they brought Jerry Holman to the stand, and he said, he asked hey, were you in the courtroom when Melissa Oberg testified? He said, yes, I was. And they asked and he said that the results of the bullet matching the gun, do you believe that that's accurate? And Holman said yes. And then Nick said, after hearing there was a low error rate, what were your thoughts on that? Did you hear anything about that there was a low error rate with the matching?
I didn't hear that terminology, but I can tell you that I struggled listening to a lot of the stuff from yesterday.
Okay.
Because I tried to read through as much as I could, but I didn't hear a low error rate, and that term, I didn't hear that terminology.
He said, okay. Then he said, was there something that you misinterpreted? You originally misinterpreted about the.
Oh, I know where this is going.
the
Okay.
bullet. Now, you probably know more than I did because I'm like, what is he talking about? He said, well, yeah, he said, but that was also what the unified command believed. That he said that the unified command believed this too. I wasn't sure what he was talking about. Can you expand on that? Because I couldn't hear it. It trailed off. I couldn't hear the rest of it. Do you know?
For what part?
The
Sorry, I
part
was
where
reading.
yeah, there was like a misinterpretation originally of the bullet. Anyhow, he went on to say that Melissa Oberg said that the bullet would be matched to the Smith and Wesson bullet would be matched to a Sig Sauer, and he said yes. He said the last time that you testified, tell
Okay,
the jury.
I think I know where you were going with that. So
Yeah, tell me.
the other day they were asking Oberg, the defense was asking her, like, in relation to like how and I'm gonna try to paraphrase what I remember of this,
Mhm.
like how accurate the tool marking science is, and one of the things that he had said was along the lines, if like a paternity test, like you get a 99.999%, like would this be like the same scientific like certainty? And she was like, no. But apparently that's supposed to come up today, because Holman uses that type of scientific certainty in his interrogation / interview with Richard Allen on October 26th. Like, so that he didn't understand that the scientific certainty of a paternity test is not equivalent to the scientific certainty of tool mark evidence.
Well, you know what? I listened to Guy Relford. He is a criminal, defense attorney. He's a gun guy here in Indiana, and he's all about 2A. He's kind of an expert. And what he said yesterday is he said, okay, if I was the defense, I would be saying, you're telling me you couldn't get sufficient markings on this bullet by cycling it manually. You had to fire it to get these markings. And okay, you had to do this. And the state's contention is that Richard Allen put identifiable markings on this gun just by merely cycling it, which you could not reproduce in your lab. Is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
And that's actually correct. He said that right there would bring reasonable doubt. That's a problem,
I was looking to see if anybody in court yesterday really got that kind of clarification, if the defense was able to really drill that part home. I know that in what we were reading through yesterday, they talked about the defense saying like the different pressure that it would have on the round while it's being fired versus what it would be if it's just being ejected. And I was really trying to figure out if anybody had really honed in on the fact that, like, Melissa Oberg, did you try to compare an unspent, did you try to eject a round and compare that ejected round to this round and were unable to? I don't know if they ever got straight into that question, and I'm curious. And so hopefully somebody who was in court yesterday, I have not caught up with everybody's lives from last night, so maybe they did really drill that in.
I know that basically what came out of that was, you had to cycle this. You couldn't get markings by cycling it. And he said, so you're comparing a cycled, round, bullet to an uncycled cartridge, and basically they said that was different. And while she doesn't necessarily consider that to be different, I don't know, it's something that she worded, but still it's not comparing the two things together. I just thought, I don't think that bullet's going to be a big deal. But what Andrea Burkhart said, I said, was the jury able to discern clearly that they're kind of comparing apples and oranges a bit here? She said, well, it was just so she just kept talking and talking and talking. She actually thought it added to confusion of the jury. I don't know.
It's very possible that happens a lot with experts. We kind of touched on that, is when if the jury doesn't like an expert witness, they'll discount everything that they had to say, or if they're not able to put it in enough of a layman term that they understand what's happening, it ends up getting discounted. They don't care. They can't take it into consideration because they can't
Okay.
wrap their mind around it.
Well,
I would
okay.
book somebody like that when it came to anything like what she would have 7 hours of her testimony. I would have struggled.
That's a lot. That's
Right.
I would have too. I'm glad I wasn't. Glad I wasn't there for that one. Well, Nick went on to ask about Jerry Holman's. Tell us about what kind of training, like when you tell the jury specific training that you utilized during your interviews. And he said, well, basically, basic training, this is what he's taken, some basic training, interrogation school. He did say that in 2006 was the last time that he did some training. He has trained on how to interview.
2006?
Yes, yes. He said he did take some training on how to interview sexually abused children. And then he said CIT, which is how to detect someone with a mental illness and interview them. He said, so have you used some of these techniques? And he said, yes, I have. And how many people have you interviewed? He said, oh, hundreds. What are these techniques?
Hold on. Can you hear her? Nope, she's gone. Okay, well, we can't blame Delphi because you're at home now. It's got to just be the phone. You know what? They're gonna go into talking about the Reid technique. We've talked about this Reid technique in a lot of cases. It's up for a lot of debate on whether this Reid technique should be used as an interrogation tool. I also think it's interesting because he was adamant. He's adamant that this was not a custodial interrogation or a non-custodial interrogation. That it was just a simple interview.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, I had it on do not disturb, but I can't figure out how to shut the phone off. So I know
It's okay.
it's only I don't. It's people that I haven't talked to very much, but since I've been going to this thing, everybody wants to know. But there's other channels. So basically, here's how he said he does these interviews. First, he builds a rapport. Then he shows the person he's interviewing. He shows them the evidence, and then he lies to them or over exaggerates evidence. This gets to me. I like having rose-colored glasses on. And it's making me take them off because it just seems so wrong to lie about stuff. And then he said, and then I read their body language. He said, have you used these techniques when you're interviewing people that you think might have committed crimes? And he said, yeah. He said, okay, so in your October 26, 2022 interview of Richard Allen, did you have an opportunity to review the transcript? He said, yes. Can you recite everything that's on it? He said, no. He said, okay, tell me where the interview took place. He said, at the Indiana State Police Post in Lafayette in an interview room. At the time, did you have the results of the findings, the Melissa Oberg findings? He said, I did. He said, I had initial tool mark analysis, and then I had the round that matched Richard Allen's gun. He said, how did you get Mr. Allen to the post? He said, Steve Mullins called him, and he had scheduled some time, and then they ended up having to reschedule. So then I didn't sound like he talked with him, but I know he did. I know he talked with Steve Mullen because that's when he was read his Miranda rights.
On the 13th, on the 13th of October, he was interviewed by Mullen and Liggett.
Yes. Okay.
And
that's
so,
it. That's
right.
it. That's it. So that's when he was read his rights. And then he said, well, I brought him in to ask. The reason I brought him in is to ask him about the round that was found at the crime scene.
No, does anybody ever clarify the fact that they were actually going there to get their car?
Well, yeah, but he did tell him he would be getting his car back. He said that his car had already been confiscated and that he was going to get his car back. But
did they give Richard Allen his car back?
Yeah.
They did.
They didn't say. think.
That's my big question.
I think maybe his
Because-
wife, because they ended up eventually detaining him.
Right, but did they ever get the car back that day? Because if they went there under the guise of getting the car back, we would know if it was actually legit based on whether they actually got the car back, whether he had to stay or not. Did they ever get their car back?
Yeah. I don't know at that moment, at that time, but I know there was nothing in his car if the car was cleared. So I would imagine, I don't know that for sure.
All right.
He just said he was
a side
coming.
question.
Yeah, he was coming to get his car back. So you were in the interview room. Was Mr. Allen ever under arrest? No. Did you read him the Miranda rights? He says, he goes, well, no, I mean, I did ask him, hey, do you remember, your Miranda rights and that were read to you by Steve Mullen? And he said he acknowledged, yeah. So he never read them to him. He never did tell. He said that he was free to go, and he wasn't under arrest, and he didn't read him his Miranda rights. He said, was the door locked? No. So you didn't prevent him from leaving? No. He said, I started talking to him about, I just started having a conversation, talking about his property and the property out there. I actually talked to him a little bit about his time in the Marines, I guess Jerry Holman's time in the Marines, and the type of guns that they each had. He had a conversation trying to build rapport. He was talking about, Jerry was saying how he would like to have an indoor firing range, and asked about Richard. He asked Richard Allen about his shooting his SIG. So he was just trying to kind of get to know him and build rapport. And then at some point, he said, I showed him the results and asked why his round was at the crime scene. He didn't have an, he says, I have no idea. He said, I asked if anyone ever borrowed his car. The answer was no. I asked if anyone borrowed his clothes. No. I asked if anybody borrowed his guns. He said, I talked about like when my son-in-law, if he wants to borrow money, like $500, I'll take the gun and then he can recollect it. Once he pays me back, he gets the gun back. So something like that type of scenario. He said no. And he said he did not ever loan out his car. He did then briefly talk about where he was on February 13th. He said he had been at the trail. And then he told Holman that no, he did not carry a firearm that day. That was one of the things they wanted to know. Did you have your gun? And then Jerry said, I told him the round we recovered at the crime scene and the gun from the search warrant matched. And he said, no, there's no way. And then he said, did Richard Allen's demeanor change? He said, yes. He goes, because multiple times I said that it's your gun, it matches, you did this. And then Nick says, you continued to talk about your findings. He said, yes. So what did Richard Allen say during the search at his house? He said something like, well, it doesn't matter. It's over. All the neighbors think I did this. Basically my life was ruined. This was the October 26th. He said, after you confronted him with Melissa Oberg's findings, what next? He said, well, I gave him water, I gave him a smoke break, and let him go to the restroom. He said, did you confront him with the evidence? He said, yeah.
Hold on a second. He said, I let him?
Yeah. And he says, I gave him water, gave him a smoke break, and go to the restroom.
Okay, he didn't say let him. Okay, because I mean that terminology right there. If he says let him, that means that he is there under a custodial interrogation. He has to allow him to do things. He can't do anything on his own free will.
I almost think he did, but we'll see about it. I always say we'll defer to Andrea because he said I gave him water. I thought he said let him go on a smoke break and go to the restroom. Like he was giving him.
Yeah, I mean, can't let somebody do something unless you have control over that person.
That's interesting. Okay, I never even thought about that. Okay, so Nick said, did you confront him with evidence? He said yes. He said, and Liberty German's phone. Yes, I told him that we have experts telling us that that is him in the video. And Nick McClellan said, and that was a lie, right? He said, yes. He
Wait,
said,
Nick McClelland has put Jerry Holman on the stand for Jerry
yes.
Holman to talk about his interview with Richard Allen and all this shit that he did that people aren't going to like that he did. And the state put him up there to tell the jury all of this.
Yes. You know what? People beside me on either side of me were going, that is the prosecution doing the
Right?
direct, right? I know. I said, yeah, that's the prosecution. So you start to see this. You start to feel this again, like Sluthy felt. Like she's like, are they purposely trying to walk back this case for some reason? Are they trying to lose?
They're trying to get in front of what is going to come out, because like I was telling you about this
Yes.
paternity test situation. Hey, there's Sluthy
Yeah.
right there. And things that
Sluthy.
Holman has said that are just absolutely fucking moronic. So they're going to try to get ahead of that by putting him on the stand and asking him, how stupid are you? And now that Melissa Oberg testified, do you feel smarter? And he's like, yes, I do. I feel so much smarter now that Melissa Oberg testified.
I'm telling you, it gets worse. It gets way worse.
All right. Hey, Sluthy, what are you thinking so far?
Yeah. Let's hear you.
I was just going to be quiet because if it gets worse, I want to hear how it gets worse. But I have many questions and concerns, and I hope that the jury is picking up on everything.
Yeah. Hey, juror number 10. Juror number 10, the real skinny guy with the super thick, super dark. He's one of those guys that has like a lot of hair, dark hair, but he's like really skinny. Like he's probably got arms like me, and it's a guy, you know.
Julie and her juror descriptions. I would never want to be a juror.
No, he's good looking.
Be like that one chick that was her hair with a tight ponytail with the chubby cheek.
No.
That one.
No, everybody's listen. No disrespect. He's very well kept. They really are. He's very groomed. He's paying attention, and he's looking at Jerry Holman like he's like staring him down, almost like, "Are you for real, dude? Like, I can't believe I'm hearing this." Like he is on it. Like his body is poised. Like what? Kind of that. No, real good.
I think that everybody, and they're going to go, I mean, he does have to testify the fact that he is allowed to lie.
He did. He said he's allowed to lie. Yeah. So the next question that Nick McClellan said is, well, you know, he said, so that was a lie about the you didn't have experts saying that Richard Allen was out there. I'm not thinking, God, Nick, what are you doing? He says, have you done that before? He said, yes. That's they get to lie. That's their thing. He said, did Richard Allen give you an explanation as to how the bullet got to the crime scene? He said, no. He said, no way. He said, no way is it his bullet. He said, and then Rick's response was, he said, what did he say? He said, he didn't do it. He said, how many times did he say he didn't do it? He said 20 to 25 times. He goes, but I don't know, 20 to 25 times is what he said. That he said he didn't do it. That wasn't his bullet, and that he didn't do it.
I'll tell you exactly what this is. And I'm sure that Andy and Brad are anticipating it. This was all to set the scene for Richard Allen told us before we arrested him that he didn't care what we did to him. He was never, ever going to confess to something that he didn't do. He said it over and over again. So if he finally did confess, it was because he was feeling terrible about it and he had found God. That's going to come up, I'm sure. He had found God. And so he was basically just confessing to free his soul or whatever, because he told us no less than 25 times that he would never, ever, 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 no matter what we did to him, confess to something he didn't do. That's what's coming.
Yep.
Yeah, but I guess for me, I just wonder then, because I did hear that they're going to be, the jury is, we had this whole conversation the other day about why the jury is not seeing these interviews, like why they're not being shown the videos. And then, so I heard earlier that they are going to be shown the videos next week. So then my thought process when it comes, because I was thinking that too, Sluthy, and then I was like, but aren't they going to be able to see the absolute complete change in his demeanor, his tone, his presentation, like they're going to be able to tell the difference, and that's going to backfire on the state. No?
Yeah, but it could be argued that the reason that his tone and his looks and his this and his that and his demeanor, all of that changed because he was literally making himself insane because he was guilty and needed to confess. Because look, he confessed. Now he feels better. Now he looks better. So that's going to be the argument. I guarantee it. And if you notice, Andy wanted it played today, like rather than Holman tell them what he said. And Nick did not want to do it. And so it would appear that Baldwin thought that they were going to play it. And then she made a comment about, we're going to view it next week. And he made an objection. And then they started talking again. I think she likely told them that if he wants to play it, he has to do it in his case in chief. And I believe that's expected to happen next week at some point. And
I think you're right.
I'm still going to struggle with that because I don't. You think that the defense is going to be able to play him in its entirety or even in part, but they don't have an exception to hearsay rule when it comes to Richard Allen.
He's not. Why do they need? It's not hearsay. It's him.
Because they have him.
Oh,
they have him to testify.
Oh, so essentially to play it. So he
Nick
would have been able to use it as impeachment, but she didn't allow that.
That's my thought on it. So I was trying to figure out how we're going to get to hear it next week. Travis, are you in chat still? Can you please give me some attorney advice on this situation? Because from my understanding, they can't play it on their own.
Well, then how are they planning to play the I guess for impeachment of the guards and stuff is how they expected to play the videos of him in his cell eating shit and ramming his head into a wall. And so I wonder now how they're going to get that.
They can play that because it's not Richard Allen. It's not Richard Allen in the interview. I think they can still play that. I think they can both play that. Okay, Travis is here.
Yeah, that's right. They can call Holman again and then impeach him, I guess.
Right. But if the state plays it, it's not hearsay. But but he says his understanding is the state is going to play it. That was my understanding too, that the state's actually going to bring it in next week and play it.
But what would be the point?
They admitted it into evidence today, the state did, and now they're going to play it. They were going to play it today, but had technical difficulties, was my understanding.
But what would be the point then? Because the only other person in the interview was Holman, unless you're going to bring him back up to prove the exact point that we were just talking about. That, let's go through the confessions and then let's
figure out the tech issue and then just start off like Monday morning with like, okay, here's the evidence that we put in. And
I don't think it's going to be Monday morning. I really don't. She said sometime next week. Otherwise, she would have said, we'll make sure that it's ready first thing Monday morning.
You're talking about the interview that Jerry Holman had with Richard Allen, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the part that we'll get to that, but the first part of it was not recorded. Just kind of, he's like, yeah, the Miranda rights, and I asked him about that. Well, that part wasn't recorded, even though he told Brad Rose or Andy Baldwin, he said that I saw the 3 little lights blinking. I know it was recording. He said, well, why didn't that record? He said, you didn't have anything recording until a little bit later. He said, well, because there was a delay. And he even said, well, but you got him on recording of him going back to his house because somebody took him back home. But you can't record this, the full interrogation. He did mention that. Now he did ask he said, did you ask Richard Allen if he'd ever been to the crime scene or mushroom hunting? And he said, yeah. Richard Allen said, no. Did Richard Allen inform you of any kind of mental health issues? He said, yeah. He said he had some depression and some anxiety. After that, did Richard Allen continue to deny that he did this and that was the bullet at the crime scene? He said, yes. When Richard Allen told you he had depression and anxiety, did you use your training that you had in the past to, kind of talk with him? And he said, I did. He said, after asking 20 to 25 times about committing this crime, Richard Allen became very agitated. I mean, I can, no
Yeah.
kidding. He said, I asked Richard Allen if he ever went target shooting out there with his weapon. And he said no.
On private property. Like, how dumb. It just they make it sound like things that it's not.
I know. He said he told you about mental health issues. Did you continue to talk with him? He's like, he was saying the same questions. I noticed. I think he like reread it or something. Says I did. Richard Allen continued to deny involvement. He said yes, he did. What else? He said, I'm not going to tell you something I didn't do, and I don't care how many times you ask. I'm not admitting to doing something I didn't do. Did he deny contact with or knowing the two girls? He said yes. Did Richard Allen's demeanor continue to change during this interview? He said yes. He said Richard Allen said he was pissed off and said he didn't fucking. Oh, okay.
You're
You
good.
can
You can
cuss here.
shit.
He said that in court.
Girl, what you talking about?
Sorry. Okay, I wasn't sure if I.
But Julie's like, oh my gosh, I just said a bad word.
She covered her mouth. Like,
That was a personal thing, though. She was like, oh my god, I said a cuss word. I said that out
Sorry,
loud.
but he did say the F word out.
You were gonna cuss.
He did
Wash
say
your
it out
mouth
in
out
court.
with soap, Julie.
He did say that out in court.
good.
He
He should.
Oh
said,
yeah,
"Would
there's a lot of cussing that happens in this interview, we're told.
Yeah.
We were
He
told
says,
that in one of the motions that when they discussed the interview, that Richard Allen gets pretty fucking mad.
yeah. Well, he goes, so what did you do? He goes, well, I raised my voice to him to match his demeanor. And then I match his demeanor. And, basically we go back and forth. Did you revisit his gun out there? He said, yes. And he continued to deny. Did he ever give you an idea as to how long has the bullet got to the crime? Oh, as to how the bullet got to the crime scene. He still said no. Then Nick
No,
said,
he's saying, I don't know how the hell it got. It's not mine. I don't have anything to do with it. Leave me alone.
see, I think there was.
In fact, I think he said it's not my bullet. Like,
Yeah.
basically, like you're making it up because there's no way my bullet would be down there.
He says you heard that Melissa Oberg said that the round at the crime scene is the round from Richard Allen's gun. Yes. And you relayed this to Richard Allen. He said yes. Do you believe this? Yes. He's asked him this already. I mean, like he keeps asking the same thing. He says, so we use this belief. Did you use this belief to confront Richard Allen? Yes. So you confronted him several times? Yes. Did you give did you give your did he give you an answer? Yes. He said there's no way that's mine, that was mine cycled through that gun. What was Richard Allen's explanation? He said he didn't know why his bullet was out there at this bullet was
His
matching.
explanation is that it's not his. That was his explanation.
He's like, I don't know. He couldn't give an explanation as to it, I mean,
I'm fucking surprised. It's not his.
I mean, I bet you could go, well, now that people have been out there, but people shoot out there all the time. When I was out there, they were shooting. It's been, gosh, probably 6 years ago. People were out there shooting. And Kay says they shoot all the time. He said, did you ask if Richard Allen was on the trail? He said, yes, he was. Did you ask if he was on the Monon High Bridge? He said, I told him I was out there, but not out there on the bridge. I don't know. I didn't hear mumbled off. He said, did you ask Richard Allen if what he was wearing? And he said, yeah, he's, wearing a jacket, hat, the whole thing. He goes, but actually what Richard said was, he said, I already told you. Did you take a break? And he said, yes. And then he said, what stuck out to you after the break? He said, at one point, Richard Allen told Kathy, all you have to do is ask for a lawyer and they have to let you go. And he
Richard
said,
Allen said that to Kathy, or Kathy said that to Richard Allen?
Richard Allen said that's Kathy. He goes, wait, who's Kathy? He said his wife. So she came in, and came in the room, is what Jerry Holman said. She'd come in the room because that's the first I heard of Kathy being around. He said, "Did you observe the conversation that he was having with Richard Allen and her while you were out of the room?" Yes, and in the room. Yes. He said, "Oh, he said he said I don't know if he said he was going to ask for a lawyer." He said, "And don't worry about me." I can't read. Have to.
He told Kathy not to worry about him. Like don't worry
Yeah.
about me. I've
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah, let's get a lawyer. Don't worry about me. Well, he's already feeling sort of defeated. I get that he's look, he's got depression, anxiety, is amongst other issues. He's kind of one of these guys that'll roll over. Like he'll just be like, whatever, just do whatever. So he's one. I can already tell just from the way he answers questions. He's not. He doesn't stand up to fight for himself. He's kind of like, all right, just do whatever. He kind of he has a short amount of patience, it seems like where he's like, okay, like he won't endure. He doesn't have that endurance. So he said, I asked Richard Allen if he carried a firearm and how. He said he carried it sometimes, and he usually put it in his holster. He said he normally did carry one round in the chamber. At this point, was Richard Allen under arrest? He said no. Did Richard Allen say he knew who murdered Libby and Abby? He said no. Did he carry the firearm? He already said that. And the answer was no to all this. And how his round was found? No. Same thing, man. He asked these questions over and over. Okay. Nick said, were you able to ID his behavior? Like, he said yes. And he said, well, explain that. He said, well, he just was kind of acting a little, his behavior was kind of looking around. He said, what do you look at for when someone's being deceptive? And then there was Baldwin was like, hey, objection, you need to rephrase that. He said, which part of training shows deception? And he's what type of training do you have that shows deception? And it was Reid training. Do you guys know what Reid training is?
Yeah, it's an interrogation technique. It's the Reid technique.
Okay. See,
yeah.
I'm not into crime. Hopefully I'm not into it anymore. Okay. Does it show you cues? Yeah. It shows you that someone's being untruthful.
Yeah.
So now Andy Baldwin comes up. Now it's his turn to do the cross. He says, tell us, what is the Reid technique? Well, you look at some body language. He goes, yeah, he was like, he couldn't really describe it. He said, who developed this? Tell us about it. He really couldn't say much. He said, he said, tell us the things that you look for that you think are being, these are cues. He said, well, the body language, like if they're looking away or they're looking down or they're touching their face. And he goes, who taught you or told you that? He goes, I don't remember. He said, touching the face? He goes,
where did you learn these shenanigans? He's like, I don't know. I don't know who taught me this shit.
He says, okay. He goes, is that you? Because you're touching your face and you're looking down. I mean, he got him. That was a boom on Andy, man. Yeah.
Did Holman end up responding to that, or was it just like shut down?
No, he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. There was nothing. I was surprised that they didn't. I thought there would be an objection by Nick. I was like, whoa, they let that go. But it was
touch my face all the time. Like it's a bad habit.
It was a good mic drop. Me too. That was a good one. So he said, so touching the face, he goes, well, who taught you that? He said, I don't remember. And then Nick gets up and says, wait a minute. He has to ask a question. He goes, Lieutenant Holman, were there signs of deception? And Holman says, yeah, a few. He said, like denial, touching his face, but it was very subtle. if it's very subtle, then how do you know if it's actual? If it's so subtle that I don't know. Okay. And then he says, and you aren't suggesting that everyone denies that everyone that touches their face is being deceptive, correct? Well, no. Okay. He said, I told.
So it's an interesting. So the Reid technique is kind of interesting because why it's so controversial is because it elicits false confessions. There's a lot of false confessions that have been done in these interrogations, and it ends up overturning. The Reid technique is like what's used to overturn these false confessions. So here's my thing: is like he did not get a confession out of Richard Allen. Oh Jesus.
No, he never got a confession out of him.
But
So
one
he said,
could argue that that was his intention. That's why he was, doing
Yeah.
that.
And I told him and his wife that I didn't think that he was a bad person. And then he said, how did he respond? He said, well, he put his head down. He said, what good person would kill two girls? He said, was Richard Allen free to leave? He said, yes. Did he? He said, I advised him. He said, you advised him of his Miranda rights. He said, well, I talked to him about it, and he said he remembered, He said at some point, he said to take all your evidence and just arrest me. That's what he said. Richard Allen said at some point, he said, just take all your evidence and just arrest me. So we made a decision. Jerry Holman said he met with the other investigators, and they made a decision to detain him for the murders of Abby and Libby at that point. So he said, well, and why did you do that? Nick said, he goes, well, we had enough evidence to establish probable cause. So then Andy gets back up and he crosses. He says, now I saw you looking down quite a bit. This is where he said that. I saw you looking down quite a bit. Is that a sign of deception? And Jerry Holman said, it could be a sign of deception. He actually said that. I'm like, you're just making the prosecution look bad. I can't believe he answered it that way. He said, let's see, this calm guy isn't the same that. Oh, yeah, he goes, oh. Andy then said, this calm guy that we're seeing on the stand, that's not the same calm guy that interviewed Richard Allen, is it? And he's like, kind of nodded his head like, yes.
Yeah, bullshit.
I know. He said, so you were reading Richard Allen. I think it says reading. You reminded Richard Allen of Miranda rights and free to leave? He said, yes. He reminded him. He said, but that part of the interview is missing. He said, you went outside and said the video wasn't working, but went outside, you said it was working. So he said it was, then he said it wasn't. And then you said that you saw 3 dots like blinking to indicate that the videotape was working. That was in their interview. Do you remember taking that deposition? He says, May of this year, he said, they had 2 depositions. It was August of 2023 and May 3rd. It was August 10th and then May 3rd of 2024. He said, would it help to refresh your memory if you said you saw it recording? And he said, yes. So Baldwin said, the problem with your story is we don't see your walking in, and there is this delay. He's like, yeah, the video doesn't start right away, He goes, we don't see you walking in, correct? Correct. We don't see you advise Richard Allen of his Miranda rights or that he's free to go. And Holman says, correct. He said, so this is one of the many missing things, missing parts, missing information, many missing videos. He said yes. I mean, he's like, I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then he said, was it April 28th through June 2nd of 2017? All those videos are also gone. Yes. So he
Did
said,
he get to answer that, or does that get an objection?
it might have got an objection. I didn't write beside it,
Okay.
but I saw, but when he didn't get to answer, he would, every answer that he didn't get to answer, he was already nodding yes. But
Okay.
yeah, because there's times that he didn't get to answer because there was an objection, but he was going, and he was getting ready to say yes, but then there was an objection from Nick McClellan. So on October 13th, Steve Mullen, it was at 13th through 26. Jerry Holman heard him say there was a similar, I think it says, demeanor of Richard Allen. And he admitted to Jerry that he said that Richard Allen had this demeanor during his interview. They did a sidebar, and so they got all that stuff. I don't know what they were saying back there, but it was a long break. So we were all kind of talking. And then before, the jury wasn't in, we took a break. So then they said, let's just take a break right now. Because they needed a few seconds. So they sent everybody on a break. And I think before they brought the jury back in, Andy and Nick both went to the judge's bench. And I was asking Andrea what this was about. Then they ended up going behind the screen, and she said she thought it was that so that Baldwin would not be chastised in front of the jury by Judge Gull by asking these questions, kind of get it out there. So they ended up coming back.
They had him answer questions without the jury in the room?
No. They were taking these sidebars. They kept taking these sidebars, and then they went to the bench. And I think it was because they had to Andy had some questions he was going to ask, but he didn't want to get in trouble by the judge. So then Andy says, okay, so one lie you told was what? He said, well, I told him, Richard Allen, that one or two witnesses saw him on the trail and that experts said that it was him. He said, but Richard Allen still denied it, right? He said, yes. He said, you said you weren't lying. You told him you weren't lying and said that would be unethical to lie, right? He said, yeah, yes.
Holman's like, I'm not lying to you, Richard Allen. That would be unethical for me to sit here and lie to you, Richard Allen.
Somebody told me
I'm
that
sitting here and lying to you.
Somebody told me they were watching Richard Allen, and he's going like, oh my God, I can't believe like this whole thing. Like he's responding to this mess. He's like kind of like what we're doing, shaking our head. But look, imagine him. He's lived through what he's talking about. And then he says, but Richard Allen still denied yes. So you said you weren't lying and it would be unethical to lie. Yes. He says you told him, hang on. I have invest. Oh, he said you told him something, wanted to lock him up. Oh, he said that he told Richard Allen that he wanted to lock him up and throw away the key. Yes. And Richard Allen still denied. He said yes. That's crazy that they can say these things to people.
We have from the documentation or from one of the motions where he's at the end of it, he's saying like, I know you're guilty of something. I just know it. And like, I'm going to fucking prove it.
He also said, and you're going to get the death penalty.
And so he tells him it's a death penalty, that this is a death penalty case.
Yeah. And he said, did Richard Allen still deny? He said, yes. So he said, so you told him as he said, you told us he said, that's when it got ratchet up. He said it started ratcheting up. He said it started ratcheting up when you said you're going to something. Oh, you're going to drag your effing wife and your effing daughter through this all because you are too bullheaded. I mean, that's mean. He said, you're going to suffer unless you confess. Nick asked before, and I don't know what that part says. Jerry Holt, hang on just a second. Oh, yeah, he said, so you said this to him? He said, yeah, it's a tactic. He said,
Yes.
so why are you using it? This is Nick asking him. He says, so we can get him to confess. I'm really
So we can
like,
get him to confess. That is what the Reid technique is for, is so they could get him to confess. But so Travis said, like, it's all okay. Like, if the jury thinks a defendant is guilty from other evidence, this kind of stuff isn't really going to faze them. Like, so my question to that then would become, like, to Travis, was if a jury isn't secure in the other evidence, does this type of testimony faze them? Like, that's kind of where
that's
I'm at.
what I want to know.
There's not some like clear cut. I get that during these interrogations they're trying to solve crimes. Like, I don't want to say like it's the wrong thing necessarily, because they do get a lot of good arrests out of this type of stuff. They don't always get good arrests, but the interrogation styles and the techniques that are used and that they're trained on, it does, they get bad people off the street. So I'm not trying to like say that it's all bad, but I guess for me, I'm just trying to figure out, it didn't work, because if he's using the Reid technique, his technique is faulty. He does not get the confession, except for then they're like, we figure we have enough probable cause. We have enough evidence for probable cause, which is some witness statements saying that match the guy on the bridge from Libby's video, and then him saying he was at the trail that day, which is only mere present, so that's not enough for probable cause. And then so the biggest thing they have is this unspent round that Melissa Oberg, that's their probable cause for arrest. So they're not like overly inflating, like we knew right then we had the guy from all the evidence we'd collected. They didn't have anything. Like, that just shows they were purposely trying to get him behind bars, and then they were going to investigate him and get the evidence. They couldn't, so they couldn't get the confession. They couldn't get the other evidence. So they're like, hold my beer. Let's stick him in Westville and fucking see what we can do.
Let's match him to the evidence is kind of what sounds like it's. He said, so Andy Baldwin says to Holman, so you were here when Mullins was here, when Mullins said that Richard Allen didn't know what direction he went that day. He said, yes, he didn't know what direction. He goes, actually, Richard Allen did know what direction. He said he drove from town. Melissa Oberg compared the unspent to a fired. Were you aware of that? Okay. What do you think his answer was?
No.
Yeah, he said no.
Because he doesn't know shit about shit.
He said, no, I was not. I mean, I felt like we could get up there and answer this. Okay. He says, so where you are, hang on just a second.
Sorry,
Where
I
you are,
wrong button. But I mean, is he not even just reviewing basic things? Because
nope, he's not.
Because like we knew they were comparing fired to unfired just from that 2-page report from her.
He said, were you aware that the striations didn't match up? No, he said in those 2 weeks you didn't send to an independent lab to see if Melissa Oberg was correct. No. He says, Mullen, was it you or Mullen that said Richard Allen said it's over? He said, you didn't tape record that, did you? Like, I guess he could have, because he was saying that at his house. Was that all tape record? Was that all on video? The house search?
From what I understand, the car ride. So when he said that he said it, like the car ride.
Oh, I got my answer.
Was recorded, but not that particular statement.
Yeah, he said, well, you drove Richard Allen to home, or somebody did, and tape recorded it. Yes. It was recorded. Yes. But what he said wasn't recorded. He said there is oh, he said, this is over. All my neighbors think I did this, So he said his house was searched.
You've already destroyed everything. You've already destroyed my life. You've destroyed my house. You're destroying everything anyway. Doesn't matter whether you want me to sign this fucking form or not. So go fuck yourself.
Right. He said, did you find Betsy Blair to be credible?
Okay, hold on. Before you go to Betsy Blair, I want to go back to the death penalty thing because both Travis and Michael said something in chat that is actually that they can't actually threaten anybody with the death penalty in the interrogation.
I thought so. They can't make promises to give them a lighter sentence, and they can't tell them that, like, if they don't confess, they're going to put them to death, because that's not true. And even here, he was not charged with the death penalty. This is not a death penalty case.
But I'm curious because if it is a violation and they're not allowed to do that in the interrogation, the jury nobody's told the jury that, right? Nobody said anything to the jury like you're not allowed to threaten. Like they don't know that that's an issue is what I'm kind of saying, right?
They really don't give any instructions to the jury about that kind of stuff. Like what the usual law is, like, you should be, you should be comparing.
Well, they don't even ask, like, Holman, do you know that? It's not like they address the jury themselves, but like, Holman, do you know that you're not actually allowed? Did you not learn that you're not actually allowed to use the death penalty during these types of interviews and interrogations? Were you aware that that's actually like an ethical violation?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? So that the jury hears it, even if it gets objected to. So I'm just kind of curious, like, so does it even matter? Because if the jury doesn't know about it, then it doesn't matter, right? He can say whatever the hell he wants.
So I think, so he wanted to ask, did you think that Betsy Blair was, credible? He said, yeah, I did. But Betsy Blair didn't describe Richard Allen's car. And he said, well, Nick McClellan, he didn't object. He goes, well, I didn't know. He didn't know what Richard Allen's car looked like at the time. How is that? So Nick McClellan said, so Richard Allen's car, was it at the CPS? He said, that's not correct.
That's not his theory.
Yeah, I heard about this.
No, that's not correct. He says, he goes, here's what he said. He goes, Jerry Holmes said, I know he drove by because it was caught on the Hoosier Harvest store, but I don't know where he parked. What's somebody saying there? So small, I can't see it.
That's just baffling to me. And I think it's because they're anticipating Betsy. I think she must have come off credible. And I think that they're worried that she's gonna, they said on the TV, they were looking for a car there from like noon to 5.
I think they said it in their opening statement.
I didn't have it in my notes, but it might be in other notes.
I'm gonna go back. I'll go back and look on the other notes too. It's been in testimony. This is not like new. It's not in the opening statements. It's been in testimony. And even when Betsy Blair was on the stand, we'd have to go back to the questioning, go back to the direct examination of Betsy Blair, and which I actually think I have yours up right here for your notes on that.
It was actually objected to because he said it was outside of the scope because he did not ask her about that.
Her testimony was just. Oh no, Sarah Carball is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, that was she's a hot fucking. I don't even know that she actually saw a person.
I don't think she saw anybody.
I don't think she did.
I think I think she's a terrible witness. I would not believe it. I would not believe anything that woman had to say.
She was a Disney character at first, a very animated Disney character that turned into like the witch. Okay, so to Jerry Holman, he said we have witnesses, and this must have been Baldwin still talking to him. Yeah, he says, well, who are they? Tell me, who are your witnesses? You say that Betsy Blair is you believe her. Okay, so who are your witnesses? Tell me. He said, Betsy Blair just.
Oh shit!
And then Nick. He said Nick McClellan. Nick objected. And then I don't know. It says Betsy Blair not testified. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's saying that Betsy didn't testify about seeing a car at the CPS building. He's trying to keep that out.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's interesting. He said, "Is Sarah Carball credible?" He said, "Yes." So you were here when she testified to the muddy and bloody. So was there not another report of this anywhere? Not that he was aware of. Are you aware of the traffic pattern on 300? No, I don't. Like he said,
What did he even do the whole time?
I know
The entire time.
he didn't know where any of this stuff was. He didn't know about the traffic pattern. He said, "Well, the Hoosier Harvest Store video. Did you see a traffic pattern?" He goes, I didn't watch the video. I assigned someone else to watch it."
I want to know. I don't even live there, and I want to know where my tax dollars went to know what the fuck he did for 8 years. That's what I want to know. On this
Yes.
case.
They said, "How many vehicles have traveled by Hoosier Harvest Store during that period of time?" He goes, I don't know. "How tall is the bridge?" I don't know. "Do you know how high it is?" I don't know if he said how long or tall. He said something about 100 feet. He guessed 100 feet. I don't know if it in length or if he was guessing height. He was
I'm
getting
sure he
it
was
wrong.
guessing. I guess that's a guess for a
He's just
break.
fucking guessing though. How does he not know?
He said the investigative team knows. He didn't.
He's
He
in
said
the investigative team.
he goes, so
Wasn't
then
he Unified Command?
he what?
Wasn't he Unified Command?
Yeah. He kept saying, "Now you're the lead investigator." Andy kept
Yeah.
saying, "You are the lead investigator on this, aren't you?"
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He said, so Andy says, "When you go down the hill to the access road, then you go down to the creek, you go down even further." Well, Nick McClelland objected. I don't know why he objected. I can't ever hear why he's objecting, but you can probably figure out. He didn't want him talking about that. If you go down here, it was almost like, "Be quiet. He doesn't know what you're talking about. Don't embarrass him."
Well, I heard that he doesn't know how tall Richard Allen is.
I think that he didn't want the jurors to hear, like, okay, so this man doesn't know anything about this investigation, but the one thing he does know is he's going to give us a different path that could have been a different path. So, like, he was about to give them a way where it could work for the defense, I guess.
Oh, okay. Okay. He says, law enforcement believes that Richard Allen left the scene and never returned to the scene. Correct. So law enforcement believes that Richard Allen was gone by 3:57, because that's when Sarah Carball saw someone. How come I have a difference in? He said 3:57, and other people have said 3:56. I don't know why.
So,
So she's on the car. She's on the camera with her car at 3:56, and she saw him after she passed that. So I think that they keep going with 3:57. Like, because after she passes the camera at 3:56. I don't know. That's the only thing I could come up with that discrepancy. But I mean, because she stared at Richard Allen for 30 seconds while driving 35 miles per hour.
That just cracks me up.
I mean,
You
math,
can't-
math on that one.
She didn't get out of her car and like measure the distance between them. She was just driving. She didn't get out of her car and start measuring things.
If they thought she was so credible, why are they aware of who the 4 girls or whatever that she said she saw, one with the pink shirt? She was freaking out. Like, do they even know who those people are?
They were never mentioned. They weren't named. They weren't named. So he said,
DB. That's exactly what they're going to say.
That what?
That now he actually did park at the old Farm Bureau building. Like you said he did.
Oh, yeah. Shoot. He said, so would you agree that Richard Allen did not take Libby German's phone? Yes. And Libby German's phone helped establish the timeline. Would you agree to that? Yes. He said, Richard Allen didn't see the car. What's the car?
The Comet?
No. He said, I guess nobody saw the car. Okay. Oh, he said he didn't get rid of the car. I apologize. I couldn't read it. It said Richard Allen didn't get rid of the car. He didn't get rid of his clothes. He didn't get rid of, he didn't throw away any, his gun or anything like that. I mean, he basically said, look, he kept all this stuff. Libby German's phone will get, you believe it'll it helps you establish a good timeline, right? He said, yes. So would you also agree that the phone data is accurate? And he goes, I believe so. I thought that was interesting that he kind of looked up. He's like,
He didn't know if he wanted to answer that, because if the phone data is correct and it shows somebody with their hands touching the phone at 4:33 in the morning or whatever fucking time it is in AM, then he doesn't want to say that it's accurate. So he's like, shit, what the fuck? How do I answer that?
Right.
He probably just didn't want to say I don't know again. He felt he was too many I don't knows in.
I don't know. I just, I'm not for, I think the investigative team probably knows more about that phone stuff than I do.
Okay, so the involvement says, okay, so he says, Anna Spath, Riley, and 2 other girls. That's 4. Richard Allen saw 3 people when he was on the trail. He says, your thought was that Libby German's phone that was shut down, but after was inaccurate. Oh, he said afterwards, he said, remember you guys thought the phone shut down, but then you later said, oh, well, that's inaccurate. It didn't shut off. Remember when they said that? That it actually had low battery, because they don't want to say that somebody actually shut it off and then turned it back on.
The battery had died or it was out of the area.
He said, he says, at some point I thought, I think he said at the thought that might have moved, maybe. He said that's coming from, he said at some point I thought it might have been moved, maybe, because that was coming from like my drug investigation history. And then of course Andy got on that. He goes, so you think that selling of drugs could attribute to talk about maybe that there was there was movement or somebody else involved? He said, do you believe in 1 hour, now this is how he put it, and Nick corrected him. Do you believe in 1 hour that one person crossed the bridge, killed these girls, undressed them, redressed them, put these sticks on them? And then he said, do you agree it would be difficult for that to happen? I thought there was an objection. I don't know. He said, do you believe that Libby German was killed there by the tree? He said, yes. He goes, but there are no drag marks, are there? And Jerry says, well, yeah, but they're not really from the tree and they're really faint. You might be able to see them in pictures. He said, well, that's where the Nike shoe was, right? Yes. Andy says, so you believe the photos show drag marks? That's when he said, it's kind of hard to see. They're faint. He said, so do you think it's possible that 2 people could have lifted the body in a motion, like this? And he put up his hands. That's where they did get an objection. Got an objection from Nick. But Jerry did shake his head. That's what I have on here. Jerry shaking his head, yes. But Nick didn't let him answer that 2 people could pick the body up. And that's probably why. Because if you look at, I think I told you guys this the other day. If you look at the blood flow, and it's in pretty wide, so it was a huge vessel, but it's literally these huge drips this way. Like if you were upside down, or if somebody picked you up, your head's almost hanging upside down, because the blood flow pattern was upward. It wasn't just like squirting. It was literally big drip marks this way on her face.
Okay, so Holman was going to answer and essentially say that it could have been 2 people that moved her?
Yes, and Nick objected. They don't want to do a 2 people thing here. They want just Richard Allen. And
right. So they asked Coleman, like, okay, so do you think that Richard Allen's like the only person involved in this? And he says something along the lines of like, now I do.
Mm-hmm.
almost like
no. He had said, he had thought about it that maybe.
Uh-oh. Am I frozen or is she?
And I'm not. I'll let you guys think. He said something about because of his drug
You're gonna have.
investigation.
Can you repeat that? Because for me, you froze, so I didn't hear your answer.
Oh, he said that he thought at one point that maybe that the phone could have moved and it could have been others involved. He did think that at one point, and he said he thought that because of his past history as a drug investigator, and that that other people, this is kind of thing that they do. And of course Andy jumped right on that. So he's like, so you think that it's possible, that two people could have done this, and then
Is she freezing or is it me?
let's see. So they
No, it's
said
hers. It's happening to me too.
Okay.
it's what?
You're freezing. You keep freezing.
Oh, do I need to move?
You're fine now. I don't know. It was just a couple times, so I don't know.
Okay, I have Starlink. So he said, so Andy Baldwin says, now you could have done an analysis of the height of the guy on the bridge, but you chose not to do that. He says, well, he said, I think at the time we didn't want to spend the money, and it was more about a height variance. He was talking about going to 5'6" to 5'10". He said that, well, if you would have done that, you could have gotten down to a precise. I mean, look, Richard Allen's 5'4". You could have gotten down to a precise height on this guy, but they said they spent all this money elsewhere and they didn't want to do it on the height analysis. That to me is very important.
It is me too, Julie. Because
why
even if
a ton of money on shit, like where is all of this? Where is this $4 million? They had $2 million up until so it was going to cost them 10 grand to figure out exactly how tall this guy was within a couple of inches, and they've just decided not to do it.
And how many experts have we seen testify so far that the state would have had to pay to come in and testify?
I don't know. I mean,
people that don't work for the state.
I mean, what are they doing with that extra money? Somebody said, well, they need
I don't
extra
know.
money.
Why did they think they needed more? I don't know. I think it's I would want a way more detailed account of where all the money was spent if I was affected by this.
Me too. Am I freezing again?
No, you're good.
No.
Okay.
They spent 20,000 on IGG, which hasn't even come up yet at all in through any motions or hearings or anything. So we don't know what they even got from this IGG, like what they were testing, what they did with it, nothing.
I didn't think about that today. He did then.
I'm going to boot her real quick. She can't hear me. I'm going to boot her so she has to re-log in and get a different signal. Get a different connection.
I mean, let's talk about, I'm still hung up on the video, and that basically they listen, this is really what happened. They had a video. They found it on the phone. They didn't see shit. But maybe someone stopped a frame where they could see somebody far off. Maybe. I'm not even convinced of that. So what they do is they interview these people, these girls who see this guy and blah, blah, blah. And so what they do is they take that description. I have no doubt in my mind, took that description, put it in basically to AI, that interpolation or whatever. And it produced what the person would look like. And then they put him on the bridge. I think that's what happened. I really, really do. I don't even think he's real. They didn't seem scared.
The first one? I don't think the first one's real either.
Yeah, they didn't.
I also don't even think Old Bridge Guy's real, because I think that what they did with Old Bridge Guy was took Sarah Carbaugh's description of what she thought she saw, and that's why I don't think Carter even appreciated her, because as you go through all the like the press conferences, he's sitting there saying like, don't worry about the hat, just look at the face, look at the face. And then later he's like, don't look at the face, don't look at the face, just look at the way he walks.
Yeah.
Somebody knows the way he walks. And so all of those things as he's going through, those all have to do with Sarah Carbaugh.
All these girls are describing like 5'10" guy, younger. I mean, even
Muscular.
Sarah Carbaugh, you know.
So they did. I see Susan said, I would agree with Sluthy, but I don't think they had descriptions yet before releasing the first picture. But I do agree that I don't think BG is complete. But I do agree. I think she means, but I don't think BG is completely AI.
It looked real to me on the video. I mean, you guys, they showed the video, and it was just a quick. It's incredible that they got such a good picture. The good picture that they did of this guy. I don't even. I
They
mean,
didn't, Julie. That's why it's incredible. It's not. It's not. They didn't.
well,
It's not.
compared to this little tiny guy way back there coming, you can see him coming in the background where she's, she gets off. You can see her. She's kind of walking, and then she goes, and I can hear. I thought it was Abby at first, but Becky confirmed that it was Libby, and you can hear Libby. It's almost like when you talk in a high voice, like, okay. They're kind of like, okay, the path stops here. Okay, we can stop it now. And then she kind of went, huh, kind of like that, like almost like, I don't know if she said hi, but it didn't say that. It didn't sound like she said hi. It sounded like, huh. It's just a real faint, huh. And it was very higher pitched. And how like when you tell someone, okay, anytime you can pass here, just get on by, kind of like,
Yeah.
kind of like that. You could tell that it was like not her normal voice. It was just like I don't know, she must have known he was getting closer. But the weird thing is that everybody told me that I saw that first one, and then the one yesterday was the one they said they showed him right up on her. Well, why weren't they? If that's the same video, they did not show the guy, even right up behind her right away. Like, why are there two different videos? That's what I don't get. Because the other guy was way, way back, like we see, way, way back there. And she literally went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably to get off of her little dit, 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 dit. You can see her walking and then bump, 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 bump. And you can see him way in the background, like he's way back there. But how is it then they take that and they show yesterday, according to what Andrea said, like he's right up here behind him. So, let me see. I'll tell you what the rest of this thing said. He went straight into, so about the hair on Abby, right? He said, yes. There was DNA, right? So you were told it was a family member? I was told, okay, he was told. I was told female, familial. And he said, well, and they didn't test the hair, did they? No, because we figured it was just one of the one of the family members. And I mean, this was just like unbelievable. He goes, well, all they needed to do was to have Kelsey German or Becky Patty or family, give that sample. He tested against that. He goes, well, we chose not to due to some time and something else. I didn't hear. He said, like, there's no excuse you can give to not testing a hair that's wrapped around a finger by the root. Now, I did kind of notice the focus.
Did anybody ask him who told him that? Who told you it was a family member's hair? Who told you this?
Yeah. Oh, he says, so you were told it could be a family member? He said, yes. So he said, okay, now there's no DNA found on Richard Allen's phone. No. None in his car. No. No DNA at the scene. No. Now the bloody sticks. You left that was a mistake, right? Because you left those bloody sticks there. He said, no, we decided not to take those, not to test those. It was we had some blood. We took a swab. We just, decided not to take them. But then later they ended up, somebody said, you better take those. So then he went on to Dan Doolin. It's funny because like where I think they really need to elaborate on all these things, like you're asking, they just kind of like they don't get deep dives into this stuff. He said, so did you know that Dan Doolin transposed numbers in a computer? So it was all messed up. Yes. He said there have been a lot of mistakes in this case, haven't there?
Wait,
He said
Dan Doolin transposed numbers?
Yeah.
What
He said
numbers? For what?
I don't know. I guess he said he transposed numbers when he was documenting.
Go back and reread to me what you just said.
He said, did you know that Dan Doolin transposed numbers in his computer? Like filed it wrong.
So, you know, it would be really super interesting if that is a lead in to Richard Allen's MEID and the whole claim that they.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about that yesterday because they said, well, why can't we find the MEID number? It didn't ping. I thought because they've made so many mistakes.
The number's not right.
Thought they could have been, that's right. They probably aren't right. See, this is what I noticed that Andy is doing this in a lot of the stuff, like a lot of these questions he's asking. This is like a sign of things to come. And I think it's going to get pretty interesting. So he said, there have been mistakes, haven't there? He says, yes, there have been mistakes. I could, yeah. And then Andy said, so do you believe that Kelsey, I thought it says Kelsey. Oh, sorry. He will talk about Kelsey. He said, do you believe the killer was trying to conceal the girls? And he says, camouflage. He's like, are you telling me you don't think there was a pattern that these sticks were placed on the girls? He said, no. He said, so one stick by one stick, he said, on Libby and Abby, these sticks. And he said, you don't think that was a pattern? He says, correct. And then he says, were there any fingerprints at the scene? He said, no.
I just want to answer this real quick. All eyes. It means like flip the numbers, like when he was typing them in or whatever. We
don't have any clarification on what the hell that means yet.
No, and nothing more was said on them.
Yeah, but those are the only numbers I can think of. Is he typed in that long ass list of numbers for the MEID?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I bet you that's it.
Yeah, that's the only time we know about. The only thing we know about Dan Doolin is in relation to this report that was lost, and that this Kathy Shank magically found. Okay, so then he says there's no pattern or anything, no fingerprints. No, he says, now as far as Libby's hands, she had blood on them, but Abby's didn't. And Jerry's like, he didn't even act like he knew. He kind of went, no. He like stopped and thought, like, I swear, I don't think he knew the answer to that for a second. Like, I think people are giving him answers by say yes, say no. I don't know. It just seemed really weird. He acted like he didn't know. And they said there was an objection from the crime scene. Can you hear? Oh, he says from the crime scene, you can hear people on the bridge. And then Nick objected. He said speculation. So then I think he rephrased it. He says, okay, one of the things that you had was that you said that Richard Allen heard people on the bridge from the search party, killed the girls, because, like he got interrupted. So he killed the girls. Then he left. He goes, well.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not sure about that order. And then Jerry Holman goes, I don't.
So he killed the girls and then got interrupted?
Well, that's because he said he didn't know what the order was. Then he goes, I don't think I actually know. He says, it's just a theory. And he said, Andy Baldwin goes, do you need the deposition to read? He says, no. Okay, he says, at 3:57, people were yelling for them. And Baldwin goes, at 3:57, right? You said that they were yelling. People were yelling already, looking for the girls. And he said, yes, Derek German was. And then he went back to, so you don't have any concerns about Betsy Blair, about her, what she saw? No. You don't have any concerns about Sarah Carbaugh? No. In the video, you don't see who says down the hill. You don't see the person, do you? He says, no. He said, so like if you're going right or left, you don't know if someone's standing on the left side, do you? Or you don't know who's saying down the hill. You don't know who that is, do you? He says, you can't. He's like, no, I don't. And then he says, well, then you can't rule out two people. He said, no. Do you think two people, that goes back to the two people. Do you think that two people would, was this where he said, do you think it would be preposterous to think that maybe two people could have done this? I think he said, because you can't see if anyone's on the other side. You can't see that from the video. And then he went on to talk about Teresa Liebert. He said, did you talk to Teresa Liebert? He said, yes. How did she describe this person that she saw out there? He goes, I can't remember. I can't remember. So there was no description about Teresa Liebert, or nothing was talked about. He said, okay, so let's go on to the next one. So there was tension between you and the FBI. And then of course, Nick objected. He said, you are aware as part of the investigation, as part of the probable cause, that Libby German's phone was connected to at, was it 544? I keep writing 544.
Yeah, I've heard 544. But I
Yeah.
also, there was like another time too that I heard, I can't remember what that, maybe 537 or something. I don't remember, but I think Nick is,
He
in the
objected
end,
to that.
yeah, I think in the end he's going to lean on, well, if there's enough doubt in your head that, you know, you don't think that he could have did this by himself, he doesn't have to, because he's also charged with felony murder, and essentially all you need to know is that he's the bridge guy.
Yeah, I
That's
see.
all they
Yeah,
need to do to convict him of that.
they got a couple things, yeah, to kind of rely on, to fall back on.
Yep.
So then he said, are you aware of when Libby German's phone connected? I think to the tower, connected. I think I thought the answer was no. He said, well, on August 10th, 2023, he says, let me show you. He handed the deposition to him, to Jerry Holman. He said, go to pages 15 through 24. He said, he said wrong one, May 3rd. Page 24, line 15. Tell me when you're done. Let me know when you refreshed your mind and your recollection of this whole thing. Libby German had connected to the tower 544-213-2024. And he said last ping. Yes. I don't know why I answered it that way. I guess is that the tower? He says, so you can't rule out if the phone left the area on 213 and returned early that morning on the 14th. No, we don't believe that happened.
Can I answer this real quick?
Yeah.
Matt About Maya said, why would they only have to prove he's bridge guy to convict him of felony murder? And the reason is because with felony murder, if he forced them off the bridge and told them to go down the hill, he would technically be guilty. And then somebody at the bottom, let's say, this is just an example, let's say somebody else was down at the bottom of the hill and they went with them and those people killed them, and Richard Allen turned back around, or bridge guy turned back around and then left. He would still be guilty of felony murder because he committed a crime, which was preventing them from going the way they were wanting to go, forcing them down the hill, using the gun to do it, to be intimidating. And it ultimately led to their death, even though he didn't actually physically kill them. And that's what he was charged with basically up until just like a couple months ago.
Wow.
It's scary when you think about it, really.
It is
Some of those
scary.
questions
Gosh.
that's the questions that he's purposely asking Holman is because of what the elements of the crime when the jury has to sit there and deliberate about this Bridge guy is he's trying to get Holman to say you can't even prove that Bridge guy is the one who kidnapped them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
that's what he's saying. He's
he's
basically
still
saying
going
that,
to get convicted if the jury thinks Bridge guy is Richard Allen, whether they think he actually killed the girls or not, he's still screwed.
at this point, I don't think they think he is. I mean, everything that I've seen being in there, I mean, they're reacting just like all of us are reacting. And I'm trying to be open-minded because us being in this case for so long, we know a lot more than what just they're getting, but they're reacting like even they kind of like one lady put her.
Don't ever count a jury out, though, man. I'm telling you, because like sometimes they will come back with exactly the opposite of what you think that they're going to come back with. You just don't know.
I trust you. I don't know enough about it. Okay, so then they went on to say, he said, Kelsey German's phone was never analyzed or extracted.
That is shocking.
He says no. He said
That
no, but we looked at it. He goes, no, but it wasn't extracted. It wasn't analyzed like you did all these others, right? He said no. He said
that's horrifying. Even if only just for the reason that she was the last one to see them, that's horrifying.
I know. And then I noticed he said that. Then the one person he said if you would have compared that hair around the finger to Kelsey or Becky or family, and then this was the second time he kind of said something about Kelsey. He said your conversation about Libby's phone, there was nothing to contradict that phone that stayed or I think it stayed or left under the body. Okay, after it was under Abby's body, that you believe that it stayed there and never left, right? The crime scene. He goes, that's what I believe. So you didn't learn until the last few weeks, few months, that the phone reconnected at 4:33. He said, well, I knew, but I forgot. I mean, I know. It's all.
What?
Those were his quotes. I wrote them down. I knew, but I forgot. Okay. So then Nick McClellan gets back up there and he says, okay, Lieutenant Holman. Now, Andy Baldwin mischaracterized that you believe that this happened in an hour. But when actuality, it's really almost 2 hours because we've got, 2:13 when the crime, happened. And then what? The last time was 3:57. Is that right? He said that's closer to 2 hours. So,
that's what they're going with, yeah. The 2:13 video to him leaving where Sarah Carbaugh saw him at 3:57.
Okay.
They're still sticking with that.
And then he said, correct. Okay. Because, so you observed video of Libby German. You believe the video is of Bridge Guy. He said, yes.
So then where did he get interrupted?
Well, that was his opening statement. We haven't heard that yet. They haven't addressed that.
Well, they tried to. Baldwin tried to address it right now with Holman.
Well,
and
that's
Holman's
what, yeah.
I don't know if that's really, I wouldn't go that far. Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right order. He says, okay, so you believe that video is of Bridge Guy? Yes. Did you find anything about another person, like with Sarah Carbaugh or Betsy Blair? Did they ID the person that they saw? Yes. They both discussed it, and they both described Bridge Guy. Yes. And then Nick said, now Andy characterized people, Richard Allen saw as people, but they were actually girls. And he said, yes. Why did he say? And then he went back to say something about the sticks. Now you believe it was camouflage. And then I didn't hear it. It was inaudible, and a lot of people didn't hear it. He kind of sort of mumbled. I didn't hear that part. So from the deposition, 549, what does that include? The power off? Or was it power off or power down? Then he said something about pings. I think that was when they thought that it was going off or power was going down off. But it went. What happened to it after that time? It just kind of went.
Well, I know they were saying. So I know when Cecil. I don't know why I always get. Is it Cecil?
I do too. Cecil's the
yeah.
phone guy.
Christopher Cecil, yeah.
Who's the other guy?
Cicero.
Oh, that's the blood guy.
I'm finally getting it, I think.
Okay. So Cecil is the phone guy, and he miraculously, after 7-8 years, was like, "Oh, the phone didn't die. It, in fact, didn't die at all. It just died at some point after 4:33 when all those texts came through. But we don't know when it died."
Right.
Because it was dead when I got it, but that was a whole ass another day after they were found. So like, obviously it was going to be dead by then. And miraculously, the log that shows when the phone got shut off or shut down on that day was like overwritten, disappeared because they kept fucking with the phone.
Well, if you remember, he testified in the hearings that he was only ever tasked with looking at the 13th. They never looked at the 13th.
And remember about the SMS messages and the iMessages. The iMessages, they come in when they're sent. The SMS messages have like the timestamp. I'm sorry, have the timestamp when they're sent, and then the SMS messages have when they're received to the phone.
Yeah. So like if you send an SMS message to me, I have an iPhone. Mm-hmm. If my phone is dead or I don't have any service, I'm not going to get it, and it's not going to show like a time at all because it's just not going to come through to my phone. But if I don't have service,
mm-hmm.
and see, then this is what confuses me a little. If I don't have service, like meaning say my phone's cut off, like I didn't pay the bill, they shut my phone down.
Mm-hmm.
But I connect my phone to Wi-Fi, I can still get iMessages.
Yeah. But it sounds
so they're
like
not really text messages. You know what I mean? They're not really, they're like messenger messages. Like they're not real text messages.
It sounded like the iMessages still come in and it shows the timestamp of when they were originally sent. I don't know.
I've sent people. So I have like delivery, whatever. And I have seen like my message not go through. And then when it finally does, it'll be, say it takes 30 minutes for it to go through. The time on it will be that 30 minutes ago. Because that was when I originally sent it, but it couldn't be, the person couldn't receive it. So it wasn't saying delivered. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. So he said, okay, as far as the phone goes then, okay, as far as the time goes, he goes, is there anything to indicate that the girls were there and they left and they were brought back?
Wait, Julie, look at your notes really carefully because I've heard this 2 different ways and I need to know which one it was asked.
Okay. Is there anything to indicate the girls then says there and brought back and after
could be
phones
killed there? There?
I don't have killed. Yeah, because I just have, it says girls were there and brought back after phone stopped. And I have something didn't move.
So I've heard it both ways. Try to remember, like, sitting there. Imagine yourself sitting in the room, like you can smell Oily's hair.
I did ask somebody. I did ask somebody of everything he said because I was Oily's hair. It's funny. An indication. They asked if there was any indication that it moved again, and he said no. So basically, he doesn't think that the girls were there. You know, then they were there. They left. They came back or anything like that. They're not buying into any of that stuff. So
yeah, but they're 2 different questions. That's my problem. Was he asked? I've seen the media put it 2 ways. One way is that Holman was asked by Nick, is there any evidence that the girls were killed and then taken out of there in a car and then brought back later? Like their dead bodies were taken away in a car and then brought back later. And the answer was no. That I could see as being reasonable because it's like, killed where? Like we would have found blood at the bottom of the bridge if they were killed there and then thrown into a car. We didn't find any evidence that they had died there. There was no blood anywhere else.
I didn't get the word. Is there anything to indicate the girls were there? And then they were taken away and brought back. I don't have that they were killed there, taken away and brought back.
So that feels like a lie, because what evidence would there be that they, you know what I mean? Other than like the cell phone stuff that he said he has no idea what it says.
I'm going to be looking at Andrea's to see if on that particular one. This is towards the end here, but I didn't get killed. I didn't hear the word killed. So Nick says Andy Baldwin talked about the lies. You stated. He said yes. He said that other people saw him. Yes. Richard Allen said he saw 3 girls. Then Andy Baldwin says, it could be, he says, it could be that he saw 3 different girls, right? He could have seen other girls and that earlier.
And not 4 girls. I
Yeah.
hope this turns out to be true, because I have been screaming this nonstop. Like,
You and me both, girlfriend. I just don't know if they're going to have these other girls that he possibly saw. Now, if the defense has these other girls, and they can say, yeah, we saw some other guy, the fucking game is over.
He goes, I don't think so.
no, you mean if the 3 girls can say they saw Richard Allen, then the game is over, because that means earlier in the day, they
If the
saw
defense
Richard Allen.
brings one of those girls up and says, yeah, we saw a guy that looked somewhat like this and he was really short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't remember exactly what we saw, but we know we saw somebody.
Do we have those names? Because there was the other girls that were there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Herrera,
they have it.
Mata, and Collier.
Yeah, they got it too. Someone sent it to them, but I don't know if they got it, if they're doing anything with it. I find it interesting that he mentioned it. I would lean towards maybe they did get a hold of somebody.
what is
I
it?
hope
Who
so.
was it? It was Emily. Okay, Emily, and who else?
It's Herrera, Collier, and Mata. I'll send you their first names too.
Okay, please. Okay. Okay, so then let's see. He says okay, so about the girls, and then so it said it could be that he, saw 3 girls, and he said, I don't think so. So then the jury had a question. It says, Libby Abbey, okay, or he said, Lieutenant, is there another way to get to the girls without crossing the bridge? He goes, he didn't seem sure. He didn't
I
seem
didn't
like
understand this.
Then
I don't understand.
Nick answered for him.
Yeah, and he said basically.
Yeah, he stepped in. He goes, what? Because there's a video. So, where's Bridge Guy? So Bridge Guy's behind Abby. He basically answers for Holman. It's like, do they have the right to do that? I mean, he's acting like he's the guy on the stand. He said that the guy's behind Abby, and to get to that spot, there's no way to get to Abby except at the end of the bridge. So he said, is Libby German at the end of the bridge? Yes. And he says, how do we know? He said, because, he was, you can see the gravel. And he said, the only way that this could happen, this is Nick McClellan saying, he either had to be coming from the north end of the bridge, or he had to be on the south side, walk past the girls and turned around. And that's it. Because for him to show up in the video. So,
but that's if it has to be him. But that's not saying, that's not saying that the person that was supposedly speaking on the video wasn't already on the south side. But was that a jury question? Because I don't understand the question.
it was a jury question, and then Nick ended up answering it really because Holman started not sure, and then Nick started answering it for him, and then
wait, Julie, was the question? Is there another way to get to the girls when they're saying that? Do they mean where they were
without
found?
crossing the bridge? Without crossing the bridge.
Yeah, but where they were found, or to be on the video?
I think it's on the video. Was there another way to get to them? See, because they seem like they don't understand that there's that driveway. Yeah, there's another way to get to them without crossing the bridge.
Right, because they just run up the driveway.
Yeah, has that not been made clear? No, because
how come somebody didn't speak up?
They do not show a clear picture. That's what I want to know. I think we need
to you know what? Maybe the jury knows that. Maybe they know that you could have got to the girls on the south end by stopping a car on the road and running up the hill.
But why would they ask that question?
What he would say.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what he was doing then.
Yeah, and he lied.
Yeah, yeah. And then so Baldwin said the photo of Abby at 207 was, that she created that. And as Abby headed to the south end of the bridge, when you look at the bridge, there's no one behind her. And he's right. Is there another way to get to the girls without crossing the bridge? And he said, walk past and turn. So they said that again. Is it
Yeah, see, he
possible?
lied. He lied twice. That's great
Yeah.
to me. I think they know that was a lie. There is a way.
Yeah. So he said it. So then Andy goes, so it's not preposterous to believe that a guy walked past the girls and then turned around. He's like, no, I guess not. And then the jury says, this is the last thing. He says, do you know where Derek German was? Like, where was he, like, shouting for the girls then? And he goes, I think he was down by the river somewhere, down over on the north side, down by the river. Okay, that would be the 505, and the 505 ends, and there's no way, and you know what? The Derek German's going to be walking down through all that, all these weeds and heavily, wooded area. He's not going to be walking. It's the terrain's a little sketchy into to the water.
He said
I
he
just
did though. He
to
said
all the way to
Hold on.
down to the water.
no. I don't think he went all the way to the water, but he did go down like
But it doesn't matter. He didn't go across the bridge, and he didn't go on the side. I'm trying to bring up my map.
He
I
went
don't
to
know
the
why. It won't let me.
505 trail. I know he went down to the
He did.
505 trail where it ended.
But he did not go. He did not go to the bridge, and he did not go to the left of the Monon High Bridge, which is where he goes later that night at like midnight, according to him, or 10
Right.
o'clock at midnight.
Oh,
So he doesn't. There's no. So Derek. Okay, first of all, I have two problems with this situation. Derek German yelling for the girls. He's not in the area where Richard Allen would hear him. He's not. He's already testified that he wasn't, and we kind of already know that based on that he walks the opposite direction of the Monon High Bridge. The other issue I have with this is that the 357, we know that Tara and Derek and the family are in the parking lot at the time. So they're not out searching and yelling for the girls.
yeah.
They're still in the parking lot.
Yeah, there was a problem with the timeline, and that's the one thing that Andy was bringing up about, look at this is, they're
Okay,
out
listen.
searching. They're out searching, and there's a guy walking on the road already. Like, you didn't see the muddy and bloody, and that was Sarah Carbaugh saw the dude like 356, 357.
And I'm
And-
looking at the notes, and it says Derek walked back to the high bridge. It's now dark. This is after Becky and Cody left to go downtown. And it says, when you approach the bridge, there's a wooded area to the left. So as you're approaching the bridge, to the left of the bridge.
Yeah, you just go back down that way. Yeah,
There's a wooded, he had a flashlight and was searching over in that area. That would have been towards
10
the
o'clock
girls.
at night.
Yeah.
That was at night, yeah. And the first time he went down to 505, I know where that is. And then you can kind of go down a little bit close. Like, you can say it's close to the water.
He went to the Freedom Bridge multiple times as well. So I could say every direction he's going is opposite.
I bet he had to drive.
Oh,
down
you mean
to
while he's there, while the girls are
right? While Richard Allen would be interrupted while killing the girls.
Do you guys care if my husband brought me some wine?
No, I don't care. Enjoy it.
Okay, it's not like illegal to be drinking on the YouTube.
No. Where's Dave McCain? So if he ran into Dave McCain as he approached the junction, then and Dave McCain was coming from the high bridge.
Yep.
Like
Derek said it was about 325.
Yeah, like what am I missing?
Well, it doesn't make sense because at 325, if Derek is asking him, hey, did you see two girls over there? Did you see a couple girls over there? He would have seen a couple girls over there because that's where Cheyenne and Shelby were.
Yeah.
So how does he say no?
I don't know.
Here's the thing. I don't know. I hope that the defense is keeping this timeline. They're going to say the state will tell you what happened. What actually did happen was this because people testified to this. And if they're going to believe their state's witnesses, I don't know. I mean, I don't see how they keep track of all this timeline stuff.
I think the timeline's weird because like I'm looking at this now, And it just doesn't make any sense. It says since the man had been coming from the direction of the Monon High Bridge and hadn't seen the girls, Derek went the opposite direction towards the Freedom Bridge. This was at about 3:11 p.m. He looked at his phone data to get this time.
That's misstated because 3:11. We've known this one for a long time. 3:11 is the first time he tries to contact Libby when he's in the car. The next message is at 3:13.
Yeah, and
So
Becky has a
he's right. He's about to get there. Those are the times he's literally about to get there.
Yeah.
But then what is this time? Did somebody else write down something different that what time he says that he saw the Dave McCain?
He doesn't see him until like 3:20.
He said three. I think he testified the other day 3:25, and Becky's had said he was out walking out of his car by 3:30, and I think he testified because I called you, Teresa, and I'd mentioned it. I think it was 3:25 because they asked him about what
I
time
think,
did
yeah,
you see this guy. He said
Yeah.
About 3:25. How do you know who it was? Because somebody told me that's who it was.
Right.
That's who I saw. They said that's who. Somebody told me that's who I saw.
Yeah,
And I know that he does testify. He goes back to say, like, I know I called her at 3:11 because I went back and looked to see, like, when I first had tried to contact her, and it was
That's
like
what I just read you though. That's what I just
yeah, but
read.
it's not when he sees the guy. It's when he first tries to contact Libby that he's about to be there, and then he calls or texts again at 3:13, and then he goes and sits in his car for a little bit. He doesn't get out of his car until like 3:20ish. Runs into Dave McCain. And this is my whole issue with the Dave McCain thing, with the Daniel Pearson thing.
Yes, that's a
Because
they're keeping
3:15
Daniel Pearson out of it because everything would get
Daniel
really
Pearson
screwed
needs
up.
to fucking testify, but that's neither
He
here nor there.
does. He needs to testify.
It says that everything you just said about him sitting in his where he continues to try to call Libby. He went back to his car and called his mom, Becky. She hadn't heard anything. He called Libby again. No answer. Calls his mom again. Gets back on the trails, yelling the girls' names in all directions with no response. Goes back to his car, waits about 15 minutes, nothing. Gets back out, and now he walks to the High Bridge. Like all the way to the High Bridge. And apparently it says, while he was sitting in the car, a couple of kids arrived and headed towards the High Bridge. He followed the kids out there. He did not cross the bridge.
That's different kids.
It's different kids. It's different kids.
Well, yeah.
Because by the time that Dave McCain got to him, because he was sitting in his car 3:11, 3:13, Daniel Pearson and Shelby, right? Yeah, got on the trail, said they saw this guy come out of the woods walking this way. They went on down to the bridge. I don't know where Dave McCain was at the time, but he must have been heading down there. They're down there. Daniel Pearson gets a call, so that'll be logged in his phone that his mom called him at like 3:19. I think he got a call. Then Dave McCain comes back this way, so he just made a loop, and I think they were kind of arguing or talking or whatever. A lot of people go down under the bridge. It's like literally like if I'm looking up my roof right now, I'm sitting on my deck. All you have to do, you are totally sheltered. It's a good little, like, if you're a kid or if you want some privacy or a young person, it's good because anybody around, because as soon as they step on that on the bridge, you see their feet and you can see them, but they can't see you. It's very hard. I mean, like if they got down and laid down on the rails, they could maybe see you, but you're actually hiding. So if you didn't want anybody to know you're there, just be real quiet as long as they don't come down in there. It's a nice little hangout. I mean, that's where there was beer cans and the people smoke, drink, party, whatever.
Would you say the answer to Ivy's question would be, I mean, my answer would be whoever this David McCain
What's it
is.
say? I can't
It
see
says,
it.
who was the first person to get to the bridge after the girls were abducted and what time did they get there? My answer would be Dave McCain, but I don't know when he got there.
Dave McCain is we don't know when he got there. We don't know when he actually arrived there. All we know is that he's coming from the High Bridge. He's coming from the High Bridge towards the Mears lot. That's all but we have no idea when he actually arrived. So could it be Dave McCain? Yes. Could it be Cheyenne? Yes.
What time did Cheyenne say she actually was starting across the bridge?
Well, wouldn't she be the two girls that he followed?
Last night you said the day I could have a melon.
Yeah, go ahead.
Probably.
Oh, let them have whatever they want.
Is that your little one, Sluth?
Yeah, that was the tiny. No, that was my tiny human wanting a
Yours.
Mountain.
Okay, I didn't. Oh,
He's like, yesterday he wanted a Mountain Dew yesterday, and I said no way. And he said, "Can I have one tomorrow?" And I said, yes, you can have one tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Mine's
he gonna
not
be-
here, so my house is echoing, if you can't tell.
Let's see. Let me go to Cheyenne real quick.
Yeah, but Ivy, so yeah, like, I mean, I would agree with you, but then why did no one else hear the ringing? Like, everything was echoing. Why did no one else hear the ringing?
Well, okay, so but even if that is the case, he's calling and texting at 3:11.
Can you take a
But
little drink?
the state is still. I don't like my.
No, it's just I said little. Okay.
There you go.
I said little, but you took a big one.
Sorry. The
It's good wine.
if he's starting to text and call at 3:11, then my issue with that is the state is still saying that bridge guy doesn't leave or the killer doesn't leave until 3:57. So that's not really interrupted if it's by the phone. You know what I mean? Like they're already calling and texting at 3:11. So if he is interrupted and that makes him stop, why?
And why were they still on the, so then that would mean, so what time was that? 3 what you said?
3:11 was the first messages that came through.
And then
so
when's the next time he calls?
3:13.
3:13.
So let's say 3:13. Okay. So let's say the first one didn't spook him much. The second one spooked him because he's like, oh, now this person's going to keep calling over and over again. Then that would mean that according to the state, so now we're at 3:13, you say?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, now we got to get out of here. So he then gathers the girls up and takes them across the creek and then does whatever with the clothes, kills them, covers them up, and is back up on 300 by 3:57.
A lot of
Right.
a lot of
Well,
work.
so if there's no ringer on the phone and it's off, like I try to never have my ringer on. I hate it on unless I'm out somewhere without my husband because then he gets mad that I don't answer. Then I turn it on. But other than that, I don't have my ringer on. So if there's no ringer on her phone, then the phone can't interrupt because the killer wouldn't know that there's a phone ringing.
Hammy, I bring this up. I've been bringing this up every day.
Oh, you got Cheyenne's
If-
spy. You got a quote.
If Sarah, she said nobody brings up that muddy bloody guy isn't seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store camera, like literally.
They asked Holman that. He asked Holman that.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with the fact that he's not? You don't see this guy on the
Yeah.
Hoosier Harvest Store? Well, I
this
also
girl-
have a problem with if he's walking by there, Derek, Tara, apparently Kelsey, which I never knew that until her testimony. All of these people are literally in the Mears parking lot. He would walk right by them.
There is no, I mean, nobody, I mean, there's no way anybody would walk that way. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. Doesn't make any sense that you'd actually park down there and go kill some people and walk back either. But if you're going to walk back there, you can walk on the, you're safer on the trail.
Why are you going to be like, oh my gosh, I hear people, like there must be people hollering for these girls, kill them, and then go walk on the main road bloody after just killing them?
It doesn't make any sense. Like, that's not even, no.
All right, so I understand Ivy's question here, and I get it. But my thing is if you do hear it and it's vibrating or it's ringing, either way, it's starting at like 3:11 and back to back essentially from Derek because he calls them a couple times, waits in the car, doesn't hear anything back, and then continues to call over and over and over again. And he calls Libby's phone and he calls Becky. Then he calls Libby's phone and he calls Becky. So even if you can hear the ring or you can hear the vibrate, then that doesn't interrupt him if he doesn't leave until 3:57. So that goes against the state's whole theory of that he's interrupted because
if you're interrupted, you have to leave
an hour earlier.
Yeah.
And then if you can't hear it, then it still goes against the state's theory because you can't hear the phone.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just trying to think do you remember Cecil or not? Well, yeah, I guess Cecil or Bunner. Did anybody say if they took because what I was thinking was not only would he know that like the calls were coming through, but he would have been able to see on the phone's home screen that texts were coming through and like what they said. And so I'm wondering if anybody knows like what, well, I guess not, like I was going to say like what the notifications were
Do you know?
So, for instance,
Remember, her tablet was locked up back at the headquarters.
Mhm.
What's the one
They don't
back?
have it. They didn't have it at the headquarters quite yet, though.
Or where was it at? Where was it at the jail or
They
somewhere?
didn't bring it to the headquarters till later. After they
Oh
oh
come.
yeah, it wasn't until like the 15th. They didn't
no,
do the phone, and it was dead then.
no.
No, it
I
was that
thought
night.
it was
It was
that
the
night.
13th, but it wasn't until after they called the cops.
They said like the numbers were coming in, and they were just they couldn't it was locked, but they could see him coming across the screen.
Oh,
You know,
that was her iPad
yeah, iPad, which was
because
I
it
think
was linked.
connected.
Okay.
Like, can we take a minute to realize that the phone was linked to the iPad? It was synced up with the iPad, so
Yes.
they could have used Find My iPhone to find the phone. Like, do we
Huh.
all realize that?
Was Find My Phone on?
Yes, they said it was synced to her phone.
Yeah.
Like everything was synced to her
I know,
phone.
but
Yeah.
you have to have the Find My iPhone on, and was it on?
Well, I would imagine
I
it was. So if Becky said that it
think
was
so.
turned on before,
Uh-huh.
then she would log into the phone with her Apple ID and it would automatically be on. Mine is on.
Yeah.
I have to consciously go in and turn mine off if I don't want it
Yeah.
on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold
it
on. I'm
was
gonna go back to Ivy real quick, just because I understand now. Okay, so are we talking interrupted that he like forces the girls across the creek because he hears people on the bridge side yelling, or are we talking interrupted, which is why he left the crime scene?
No, I think I don't know what you guys think, but he abducted the girls, and then he was interrupted, almost like then he had to kill him. Is that?
Or did but okay?
That's
So I think
kinda
that's
like-
kind of the confusion: is do we really have the state's theory on?
Yes.
He thinks that that they were interrupted. He was interrupted at the end of the south end of the bridge with what he was going to do.
Yeah. Nick said, hold on, I'm going to tell you right now.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, Carbon. Nick said that I Find My iPhone was enabled and they just didn't use it. That's weird. Or then they couldn't get into the iPad.
Well, they had the passcode, so of course they could get it to the iPad.
Nothing surprises me after this testimony today. It was so embarrassing, really.
Yeah, so I think there's like 2 points of this whole interrupted thing, and I'm very confused on.
He said they took them off the bridge. He was going to have his way with them, but he got interrupted. So he made them cross the creek, and that's where they were found. Then he killed them.
Okay, so okay, I think that's, I guess, my confusion then, because I thought the whole theory was that he bounced from the crime scene early and didn't finish concealing them.
Nope.
That was their whole thing with the concealing, was that he didn't finish.
Nope. Nick said that he got interrupted. He was going to have his way with them. I guess we're supposed to imply that means sexual assault.
Yeah.
And he was interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he had to cross the creek and then killed them and then left them there. The interruption was not to get away from the scene. It was, he was interrupted, and that's why he forced them across the creek. Because that's a logical question, right? Like, why did he take them across the creek? He didn't have to.
Yeah. Why don't we have any details about the interruption? Like what their thought process is about
Because
this?
it's going to be in the confessions. I guarantee it. I guarantee that the reason a lot of this shit doesn't make any sense is because they're going off of the confessions of a crazy person.
Huh. Oh, this is wow. So they're thinking these confessions are going to come next week. Is that what you guys are thinking?
I do.
Yeah, because the state has to be done.
Oh,
The
next
state only
week?
has a couple days left.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. So the defense, you mean I'm going to miss some of, I'm supposed to miss all of next week.
Well, the defense should start. Well, let's look at the calendar real quick.
They'll
Let me just
start
make
next
sure I'm
week.
telling you the truth, because all these days are starting to run together. Let's be real. Okay.
Okay,
So
now please tell me.
I am understanding now more about why we were talking about two different interruptions, because that's where my confusion came in. So
Is Ivy talking about the interruption on the south side of the bridge side? Pre-crossing?
Okay, not the interruption during the killing where he bounced.
Yeah.
Because he was interrupted. Okay, so we have They said they're gonna. Both sets of attorneys said they're probably going to be able to finish in 3 weeks instead of 4. So if we go with the newer timeline of what they're saying with the 3 weeks, then Nick should be done probably. I'm going to say Wednesday, Thursday, ish.
Okay.
But if we go with the OG timeline of the 4 weeks, then Nick would have this entire week, and then the defense would have the next 2.
Okay. Technically, they can go all the way to November 15th, and then the jury could deliberate after that, right? If it goes according to what's like the schedule as is.
Right.
Okay.
So then all next week would still be the state. What
Okay.
do you have left? What do you have left for the state? You've got the confessions and all the people from the prison, and possibly a DNA person, because that's what they had mentioned they were putting on today, and then ended up not.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think there's going to be some surprises from the defense.
Me too, Julie.
I just got a little feeling.
One of the feelings that or things that I wonder if they are going to have is FBI people that dealt with that phone, with Libby's phone.
Yeah.
And I hope that at least one of the 3 girls, that would be a nice surprise also.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of the other certain things that they've said where I was like, oh, I think they're going to have.
I think there might be some other stuff about their house, maybe stuff that was in, I don't know. I won't say anything. It's a rumor.
Well, they can certainly come in and testify for sure.
So
the defense is going to bring Walla. Then they got Keegan and James Haas and Chadwell.
Oh, when are they supposed to do all that? Because so we're forgetting that there's an entire third party thing that they have to do, not in front of the jury. We're forgetting that.
No, because she stipulated allowing them to put all the evidence in from the hearing, so they didn't have to repeat it all during the trial.
Yeah, but there's other stuff like Keegan and all those people.
Teresa, are you coming?
I haven't decided.
Okay, now listen, hon. No,
I
I'm just
wouldn't
going to
tell
tell
anybody but Teresa.
Teresa, honey, I have my daughter and her boyfriend are going to stand in line for us. So you do have a guaranteed in, and whatever time they need to get there, they will. So I'm just letting you know, come hell or high water, we're going to get you in if you come. Because I definitely would not, I would be like you, like, okay, if I can't get in, am I going to go? Am I going to even travel?
Just because I have so many other obligations here that it's like it would be hard to justify just hanging out in Delphi while other
Sluthy,
stuff.
where do you live? Where do you live?
Oh, I'm not coming to Indiana.
He's never coming to Indiana.
Yeah. No, I really want to see this, but not enough to risk it.
That's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing. I'm just like, I just don't know. I'm like, I keep weighing it, and my husband's like, you've got to.
But Julie's saying if you do go, don't let it deter you that you might not get in, because she's telling you you'll get in no matter what.
I'll make sure of it. Just FYI, I'll make sure of it.
This is what I think, DB.
What DB say?
I think the defense has the shit that ended up being deleted that they think is deleted that's not actually deleted. I think they have the regular stuff. Everything that was supposed to be there.
I personally think they have something about this hair, because they keep bringing it up, and they're just going with whatever the state says, which, well, okay, you were told it was familial, so it's this female hair. Okay, well then let's test these people.
But why was that enough? Do you see what I mean? Why was that enough? So if it is familial, who cares? That means families don't kill families? Or what if it was female? Who cares? Females kill people. They stab people all the time.
Yeah. Why would you be like, oh, okay. So there's something brewing. I feel like I think, I think, what is it now? I'm not into this law stuff, but I mean, isn't the question, you never ask a question that you don't already know the answer to, right?
Mhm.
And so you let somebody trip up, and then later, I think maybe something like that might be coming. I just have this feeling, because like, why would they keep bringing this up?
Well, because in my opinion, like, it would be great if they got the test. I mean, not great, obviously, because they should be ashamed and embarrassed about all
Yeah.
of it. But let's say, so like, best case scenario is it's not a family member and they can figure out whose hair that is. Like,
Yeah.
that would be the best case scenario.
Well, that would even be bad for the state. What DB
Yeah.
said.
Who the hell
FBI.
told? Why did they didn't ask Holman when he was on the stand today? Who told you that? Where
I
did you
know.
get that information?
He said, I was told. I was told. It's like everything else. I didn't look at the video. My investigative team did. I don't know. I can't tell you any specifics about the bridge out there. I don't know about the traffic pattern on 300. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. It was up to, well, you are. And Andy was really good. He goes, well, you are the lead investigator.
Yeah,
You
I would be
are.
like, let's switch gears. Why don't you tell me the things you did do? Because it would appear that list is shorter than what I'm asking you right now.
Mm-hmm.
What did you
Yeah.
actually do?
Yeah. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. You could tell it was almost like, you have this balloon, and the balloon just starts slowly, and it was just like this little deflated balloon by the end of it.
I agree with this. I think that after she started cutting down everything, so like letting the emotions and basically excluding everything, and then seeing how she's been, like, if you notice that the detail in the motions stopped also. And I think the defense got to a point where they were like, if we, like, we're just putting this information there, Nick is having time to figure out how to explain it away, or find an explanation, or
Mm-hmm.
come up with a reason to say that's not legitimate.
Right.
I think we need to be quiet and just wait till it's our
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Goal was clearly irritated today. She
Maybe
got
because she
real.
also knew it was not good.
Yeah, and she got very. Oh, I mean, she sustains everything. Like she just acted like she had this really bad scowl look on her face, and she.
Apart from her everyday scowl.
Yes, but even more so, like almost like she was trying to hide that she was getting pissed that this is making him look so bad. And I
Did
and
she
I
have
and I,
that
and I
scowl on her face while Nick was doing direct?
she kind of was almost. She didn't. The scowl came more with Andy, but when Nick was doing his direct, she was. I think she had like a. She wasn't like she wasn't happy about the way this was going, because all these questions, it was like he was asking, and it was helping the defense. And we kept looking at each other, and the people on each side of me, they're like, that is the prosecution, right? And he's pulling out all this information that makes them look bad. And that's when I said, oh my gosh, all I can think of is when Sluthy said, I swear they're trying to lose this case.
Mm-hmm.
It
That
felt like
sounds
it.
like that day. It sounds like a day where I'd be like,
Like,
where
what
that
are
would
they
be a
doing?
logical thought.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to exit this, guys. I'm
Right,
cold
okay.
out here, but I'll put you in my ears. I'll still be listening, but I'm going to
Okay.
get off here.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you,
Thanks,
Julie.
Julie.
I thank you so much for coming up here.
My pleasure. I hope I'm not perfect with all my notes, but I do take a lot of notes.
Do a good job.
So there might be a few things off, like you guys probably pointed out. I think that the good thing is to try to combine 2 or 3 people's notes, and then you get it all together versus relying on the regular news. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I can't thank you enough for everything
yeah.
you've done.
Thank you guys. And Teresa, I sure hope you'll come.
I know I've got to
Come
make a
on,
decision.
Sleepy, tuck her into it. I'll take care of her. I'll tell you know what? I'll promise Ted. I'll promise. Okay, I will get Ted to come over and cook you a couple beautiful, fabulous meals where you can't resist.
Okay,
Oh,
that might actually be the tipping point right there, because
yeah.
Ted is an amazing cook.
Ted Treese is on. I'm promising. Would you please come over if she comes to
He's like,
Delphi?
stop
Would you
offering me up.
look? He even just brought me a piece of bacon.
God, I fucking love bacon, Ted.
Oh
I
my
wish
god.
my husband would just randomly bring me pieces of
Oh,
bacon.
he brought me bacon. Look, he brought me bacon. He brought me some wine, and he's making me a homemade cherry pie. And he knows when he gets the cherry stuff. He brought me this earlier, but I didn't want it. I didn't want to eat it in front of you guys.
Oh my gosh. That's
So
amazing. You're so freaking spoiled.
I am terribly spoiled, but yeah. So hey, I'll get Ted to come over and take care of you. So yeah, if I can entice you with a little bacon.
I do love bacon. I do love bacon. Oh, wait. They want, before you leave, can you show your cat?
Oh yeah, he's
Is your cat still there?
well,
Hold on.
no,
I'm
yeah,
gonna.
because he wants some bacon. Wait a second, Bandy. He's fat. Wait a second.
Teresa, I will buy you some carpal tunnel wrist braces for your trip.
There's
Bandit.
Julie's cat.
He's getting mad because I'm holding. Come now, Bandit. Come on. You better be smiling
You
for
called him
everyone.
fatties and bears now.
He's fat. Look, wait. Here, I'm gonna hold him up. He's fat. Look at him. He's fat. He's like 13 years old. He is the best cat though. He
His name
The
is
size of you,
Bandit, correct?
Julie.
what's that? What'd you say?
He's like the
Bandit?
size of you. Hold him up again.
He hates it. He hates it. He has the best purr though, man. This motor goes. He's got. What are you doing? He is so funny. He knows if he's trying to be put on camera. Like I'll be trying to take a picture and he'll.
All kids do that. They
Yeah.
all do that.
And I have another one, Leo. He's around here somewhere. I met through this case. You know, I met this lady, and she told me it was a Maine Coon. Ted drives all the way down to Kentucky to get this cat. It's a striped cat. It's not a Maine Coon. It's like part Maine Coon or something. And I said, I want a Maine Coon. And I was like ready to give him up. But Ted's like, we're not giving up Leo. He is cute. He looks like a lion. He does have big ears, but not the
cat.
cute. But he's not a full-blooded Maine Coon. And that's
What is that? Is that one of those cats that are like enormous? Because
yes, that's why
Okay.
we wanted it. Ted likes
let me
everything
tell you,
big.
I'm not a cat person. I don't have any cats. So
You don't have
I
any
don't know
cats?
nothing about cats. I thought all cats are tiny. I went to my friend's house. This was years ago, and I'll never forget it. I can literally picture it as if it just happened. And we're like in the kitchen. It's her birthday party. We're going to like sing her happy birthday. That was the whole plan. All of a sudden, you know the blinds that are like long strips and they like make noise.
Oh
They're
yeah.
like plastic strips or whatever. So I'm like hearing stuff, and I'm like, what is that? And she's like, oh, that's just the cat. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. The cat sitting in the window, I guess. Okay, so like, let's carry on. Next thing you know, the fucking biggest cat I thought it was a lion because it was
They're huge. They're huge.
it was the biggest cat I have ever seen. Jumped through the blinds. Like it scared the shit. I never went back there.
Oh my god. Those
my
cats are
God.
here. Do you see my
Did
dog?
you go to Fiend's house? Was it Fiend's house?
No, but they're saying it was Fiend. Like I would believe if Fiend was a real cat, that would probably be the cat Fiend was because it would. I was like, how is that a cat? Where did you buy a cat that's that size? When I'm here to tell you, it was like the size of a mountain
they're
lion.
huge. They're huge. This is Ginger. We adopted her. She is an Irish doodle.
Aw.
She's 4 years old. Can you guys see her? She's so cute. She's so sweet.
She's such a good doggy.
They're competing for food here. Uh-oh. Yours fell on the ground. Sorry, buddy. Well, you guys, you have a fabulous rest of your evening. I'm
Yes,
gonna go
thank
in.
you, Julie.
Thank
I'll
you,
talk
guys.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care. All right, bye.
Bye. I don't like cats, Teresa. I feel like they know that they don't need you.
They know they don't need you.
Yeah, like they're like I feel like they're very.
As soon as you don't feed them, they're gonna get real mad and they're gonna realize that they do need you. I don't know.
Like one of my best friends.
My last cat was a rag doll. Best cat I've ever had. I mean, it just she was like a dog. She didn't like other cats, but she really liked the dogs, and she was just super chill. Like She was actually, it became like my husband's cat because she would like go, like he'd go to bed and she'd be like, do, and she'd go to bed with him. And then, but like on the nights he'd stay up later, she'd like stand there and wait for him like at the door, like, it's bedtime. Like, what are we doing?
Dude, they definitely will eat you. Like if you die, they will eat you. But my friend Jess, she has a cat, and it's like I've been on the phone with her, and this cat will jump, like it's abusive to her, and she's so kind to him. It's a him. She puts like bows on him, like, yeah, he's really cute. But like I've been on the phone with her, and all of a sudden she's like, ow, Andy. And it's this cat, and it's like leapt across the whole room to like scratch her, hit her in the face. It jumps down from the freaking curtains in the window assholes. And shit. It's a hellion.
Cats can be real assholes.
She's like, I'm just like, I wasn't even doing anything. I didn't even know he was in here, and he will just come out of nowhere. He's abusive. He hurts her, scratches her all the time. I'm like, see, and when he's not normal, just stared at her. Like,
I've had cats almost my whole life, and I've never had a cat act like that.
Indy might be like he just might be an asshole cat, and it's so sad because he is cute, with his little bow and stuff. But like,
it's all about the personality.
Dogs are needy, dude. I had a dog. I had two dogs. I had a Norwegian that looked like a coyote, and then I had my Apollo. What was Apollo? He was a mastiff. He was a mastiff. He was the sweetest, dumbest thing I've ever seen, and he was like 6 months old and 140 pounds. He was a big boy. My dogs would like weep for me. Like I would be doing my mom's hair in the other room, and the dog would be like,
yeah.
I was like, is that dog crying? And I said, yes, he misses me.
Yeah, my dogs are like that. Like I can't go to the bathroom. Like if I leave the door cracked, they'll automatically be inside. If I open the door, they're sitting right there waiting for me.
Yeah.
I have dog beds around my desk right here because they're here. They won't leave me.
Yeah. Especially when I was pregnant, like that was when Cooper started crying. He knew I was pregnant. I swear he knew I was pregnant before I did. And but Apollo, he would just like when I got pregnant, he would come and he would like rest his head on my belly. They always had to have something touching me. Like if I was sitting on the couch and my feet were on the floor, like they'd have to have like a paw on my foot.
That's my big dog.
Yeah.
She likes to hold my hand. So she'll come and sit next to me because she can't, she's too big to sit on my lap. She'll come and sit next to me, and then I have to hold hands like way we watch TV. I have to hold her.
Yeah. Dogs are they're needy.
Dogs are way needier than cats. But I don't know, I still love cats. My tiny human wants a cat. He was really mad that I brought him home a puppy because the big dog was his.
Yeah.
And he was not happy that I did not bring him a cat.
Well, I know one thing. My cousin and his wife had a cat for years, and I had no clue. I was in their house all the time. I had no idea they had a cat. It had its own bedroom. I never saw it. It wasn't until I was house sitting their house I found out they had a cat. It was never around. It just does it. They do their own thing. I had rabbits. That was not fun. That they were super sweet. They were cute. And like I
don't clean up rabbit shit all over.
Yeah, it was. I was like, yeah, sure. This is like a fine idea. Like I built this whole like, rabbit cage with like ramps and shit, and I put it on the front porch. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute. Like it'll let me hold it. Like, and it did. But like you touch it, it poops. It walks, it poops. It breathes, it poops. It does nothing but poop. Nonstop.
I don't know how we get into these so fucking random convos. And then if you ever go back and like after the lives, when we go through like these random things, people will come like they'll comment under the video more about our random conversation, anything to do with the case. The last one we had about C-sections and giving birth. There's a ton of comments about people.
Really?
Go look at it. More about that than just the case. I'm like, well, at least they stuck around to listen to that conversation, so that's a positive. But yeah, that's what it comes down to.
You need like members lives where it's like
Yeah.
we're not going to be talking about anything but whatever pops into our brains.
That's literally that's my plan, but this has consumed my life.
Yeah.
And so I don't have time, but that's like the plan is to like just do a members live where I can just fucking sit there and not give a shit about anything.
I think it's important like to break it up, to be honest with you.
I agree. But I don't, where do we break it up when she's got us going to court 6 days a week?
Yeah, but not us. Like we have all day. Like I would much rather talk about like nothing and everything than sit and like refresh Twitter and stuff, because I've had it with the media. I have not looked at or read anything since like the second day of trial. I can't. And I was like, I'm not going to do this for 5 weeks. I'm not going to do it. So,
well, so there was a couple questions in chat, though I want to go back. So somebody asked me about the whole Kelsey thing, about the fake account. So before we do wrap up, like the fake account situation. So my memory tells me that it was in an interview, but because I can't tell you what interview it was in, I feel like I need to tell you it was a rumor, because otherwise I should be able to source my info. And since I can't do it, I don't remember what interview it's in. There was something about, between, I believe it was her and Bree had created a fake account and they were trolling Libby. Now, somebody in chat might be able to tell you exactly what I'm talking about, or they will just go with that it was a rumor. But maybe somebody remembers what that interview was. She's done a lot. So it's really hard for me to pinpoint which one I heard that in. And we never ended up finishing all the family. We were doing like the whole thing with all the family interviews and stuff, and we never finished it. And then, so that's kind of where I'm at with that whole, I know that it was around, but I don't remember where it is to give you a source for it. So Julie agrees. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to go with rumor because I cannot source it.
I remember hearing it, but I don't as a male. Somebody just asked that.
Yeah, they were like pretending like they wanted to hook up with her and meet her.
That's really like, I mean, I'm sorry. That's something that would, I'm not like wishing any more of a burden on her, but like, that's why when people are alive, we like treat them well, because I just, that is something that would stick with me for a very long time. If something happened, and I messed with my brother. But me and my brother really are different than most people, or most siblings, because we got close and we only had a mom. So I think that probably is also why. But I would never
when I was young, we didn't have like social media like this, so there was no way. I would have probably totally punked my brother. I mean, I used to make fun of him and call him a short virgin all the time.
I'd make fun of him. I remember the one time I put him through the kitchen
I would
wall
probably do something dumb like that. I probably would. Because my brother and I fought all the time, but we were like, my two older siblings were a lot older, so they moved out when I was really young. And then my mom worked all the time. And so I was with my brother, like he took care of me, but we fought like cats and dogs. But he would always be like, I'm the only one that you can fight with. Like if my mom got mad at me for something, he would defend my honor till death.
Yeah.
But he could get mad at me all he wanted to.
Yeah.
But I would probably do something like that, because that was kind of relationship we had. We just didn't have social media at the time.
Yeah, so, I don't think like we really were on social media, but we were just really like me and my brother used to like watch movies together. We did everything together, but the only time I have that disease. What's that disease? Like where you hear like people chewing and it makes you fucking insane.
C-Dub has that too. C-Dub and my daughter have that. It's misophonia.
Okay, so yeah, I'll never forget it, and I think I scared the shit out of everybody, because I always made comments like, "Why are you chewing like that?
Yep.
Like, how come I can hear you from all the way over here? Like, well, like what? Like you're not being normal. Like it really." But then one day, we were in the kitchen. My brother was sitting across the table. My mom was sitting beside me. And I was like, why are you chewing like that? And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just eating my food. And I was like, I can hear it's in my head. Like I can hear
my husband because I can hear him breathing.
Oh, it was so bad. I got up and I pulled him up out of the chair and I threw him through the wall. Like my mom was pissed. I felt more bad about how upset my mom got. And we had to, of course, fix the wall. But
oh, yeah.
Other than
Yeah,
that, nope.
I shoved my brother through the wall.
Yeah.
He stabbed me in the stomach with a steak knife.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and my hand, he stabbed me through my hand with a screwdriver. Um, I cracked it. You know those big old like thick candy canes at Christmas time, the big long stick ones. They're super thick. I cracked the shit out of one over his head.
Oh my God. Me and my brother.
That's what I'm saying.
Text
So
him right
if
now
I
and tell
sat
him he
here
should
and
be
told those
grateful.
stories and my brother had been murdered, I think people would probably get really upset with my stories. And so I try not to look at Kelsey with like that being a weird story, because if that was kind of their relationship and like they both kind of thought that would be something funny to do to each other, you know what I mean? Like because Libby died, I don't want to make it like, oh my gosh, like that, like what a terrible thing. But like because we don't know, maybe Libby didn't like that kind of stuff, and it is weird, but we don't know. I don't know.
I guess I look at it not from like a, oh my God, like she'd be so devastated but I think of it as like and it's different because she's a teenage, or was a teenage girl, so it's a little bit different. But it's like, so now I've like lessened her. I've knocked down her fence a little bit, so now she's less inclined to be really suspicious of like strangers online. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So like she might be like, oh well, last time it was Kelsey, and Bree, or whoever it might have been. Last time it was just a joke or whatever. So I'm gonna keep talking to this person, and like, oh, wouldn't it be so funny if we pretend that we think that it's a real person, and then we like meet them somewhere and be like, ha, we knew it was you the whole time. Like,
yeah,
that's dangerous because it might be a real person. You know what I mean?
It is dangerous, but I don't know. I mean, at 15 and 13 and 6, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That was when we did just so much dumb shit. Like, I mean, there's so many times I could have died doing dumb shit. I don't even know. I look back and go, I don't even know how I made it through. Like, I don't even know how I lived like that. And I think my kids are like past that age when I was already doing that dumb shit. And I'm like, thank God they're not like me.
I swear to God, I don't know if I'll make it. So it was different. I mean, it wasn't different, and I still feel very bad about everything. But like, my mom was a single mom, but like we had my grandpa and my mom's brothers and sisters. Like, everybody was always around. Like, my mom didn't have to do anything on her own. Like, she wasn't the only person. She had support. Me, no, I'm here all by myself. My family is all 7 odd hours away. Well, I guess we're a little closer now, but like 5 hours. But like, if my kid does something dumb, like, I can't be like my mom would be like, I can't look at you right now. I'm going to walk away before I say or do something that I regret. And then, Aunt Paula would like walk in and be like, oh, but I don't have any way to do that. But like, one time, I don't know if anybody knows anything about Philadelphia at all. But so Kensington's like not a great place, like, at all. It's kind of a bit of foreshadowing if I think about it, and how I ended up being. But I met me.
Now that I look back on this in retrospect, it makes sense. It makes sense
like,
how I got here.
Like, it's so funny because like, so it's not, but so me and my best friend at the time, we like met. If anybody did like the AIM chats, we like met these two boys like on AOL AIM chats. Like,
oh yeah, AOL chats were like the shit back then.
Yep. And they were like, and he was like, you should come down to Kensington. Like, I'll tell you how to get here. Like, we'll meet you, blah, blah, blah. These were older boys. We were very, very young. And we're like, okay, so we take the L. So like, we're on like the train from where we lived all the way down to Kensington, which I implore you to like Google Kensington. Okay. Like, a lot of really dangerous shit, drugs, people, all kinds of shit. And we just got off at the it's like a so the train like platform is above the street or the avenue that is Kensington Avenue. And so like, you get off the train and you walk down the steps and there you are. And we just like got off the train and like went down the steps, and like, the boy was there. He was who he said he was. The other boy was who he said he was. They like helped us get home. Like, it ended up being okay, but like, I had lied and told my aunt. She thought we were like doing something else, and I was like, oh well, we got on the train and we thought we were going one place, but then Like, we didn't get off. So then when we ended up getting off, we were someplace we didn't know and blah, blah, blah. And like, she knew it was a lie. So we told her the truth. She was like, you could be fucking dead. Like, I've never seen her so angry ever. And I was like, I didn't really get it until I got older and then like had the problems that I had and then like ended up right back on Kensington Avenue. Cause people would always say like, they would always be like, you like a white girl, like a little, I'm not little height wise, but like I was little back when I was like doing things I shouldn't. And they're like this little white girl, like walking around the streets of Kensington, like how did nothing happen? I think like whatever God was watching us that day when we were like 12 going down there like idiots.
Yeah, man, I'm just so much stupid shit. But then I also
and like if someone would have told me it was dangerous, I probably would
foreshadowing how we are now.
Yeah. Oh,
so maybe
now I'm like
missing out on that because
now I'm like my kid can't even get on the school bus unless I can track him with an apple thing.
Can you imagine if your mom was tracking you with one?
No, I'd have been in so much trouble. But like, I'm like, nah, like it's coming in the mail, dude. Like, I'll just go out of my way. We'll wake up 7 hours early so I can drive you to school every day. And like, once that comes, then maybe you can get on the bus. I'm like, don't leave your backpack. Don't leave your backpack. If anything happens, your backpack, it stays attached to you. Do not take it off. I don't care if it's uncomfortable.
No matter what happens, you take your backpack with you.
He's gonna have like a winter coat with his backpack sewed on it because I don't want to hear that he took it off because it didn't fit well.
That's what I'm saying. Like I had to walk. I walked back and forth to school when I was like super young, and it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't the whole. Like, I'm not old enough to technically do the uphill both ways in the snow, but my kids probably think I am. But I did walk when I was super young, and I remember like now looking back on it, it was like I walked a long way. It was a really long way. And like for me, like I drop off my tiny human and I stand at the classroom until the teacher comes out and physically takes the group of children into the classroom. Because I'm like, it's a handoff. I'm watching you take responsibility for my child. Right. And now anything that happens from this point on until I am back here standing at the door for him to come back out is your responsibility. And if I feel like if I leave before he's in the classroom, then it's my fault still. Like if something happens, it's my fault. So I will not leave until there's somebody responsible for him there.
I agree. Same with like when he gets on the bus, I sit there. People start like leaving, like so nobody lets them walk to the bus. So the bus stop is in my development. Like all the kids go to one bus stop in my development. I can see the bus coming like from my house, but I can't see the actual bus stop. They'll pull away, but like I don't. Like I want to see my kids step onto the bus. And I want to see the bus pull away so I can make sure my kid doesn't get off for whatever reason. And another thing that like my mom used to always do, and I guess I always thought it was cheesy, but really it makes a lot of sense, is like I get them presents. Like most people give like teachers presents, but like I give the bus driver presents too, because I'm like, bitch, you have my kid in this big ass machine every day, twice a day. Like I really need you to be safe. So I'm going to shower you with presents. So that maybe you'll be safe. But like I feel the same way. And when I think about it, like back when I was a kid, I did not walk to school most of the time, except for the one that was kind of close to the house. Still not close, but I would take the bus. But even something as walking to the bus stop, like now that I think about it, the bus stop was like all the way down the street. And I lived in the city then, so a block is like a long block, and around the corner. And like my mom would kiss me with her hot curlers in her hair every day, and I'd just go and then like walk. Hammy, I hate to say this, but like my kid's spoiled. He's got like 80 pairs of shoes, so I can't sew them into one shoe. I already did this. I already talked about it. I'd have to like buy a bunch of air tags. I'm not doing that. Plus the way they grow out of shoes, it's like unreal.
I will tell you that this is like bad parenting, probably 101, but many people with multiple children will probably agree that this is how it goes. My first son, my oldest, when he was little, he had a ton of shoes. He had a ton of, I mean, I'm not like an obscene amount of shoes because they matched every outfit. I would buy like the shoes that matched every outfit that he would wear. Now my
David, how do you think I got caught?
My little son literally has like 2 pairs of shoes that fit him at a time, if even. It's just like, oh, that's all.
So it has holes in it.
No,
Nope.
literally almost until they don't fit. Like he doesn't normally ever get like holes in them, but if he did, I would just replace it. But I mean, like he just doesn't. I don't have the same. I definitely don't have the same parenting that I had with my first child. Like I have probably 9 baby books of Jacob. Like all like everything, every photo from anybody who took a photo of him, I had him send it to me, and I would go
Yeah.
print it at the local CVS, and I would put it in a photo album, and I would date it.
Yeah.
My youngest child,
You're missing years. No, I have a lot on my phone, but that is a commitment.
It is. It was a big commitment, and so like, it dwindled down from the oldest to the youngest. I mean, I have like all their school pictures and their sports pictures. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about like going that extra mile, like taking every photo that I've ever taken from my phone. And I would like do, even if I took like 7 photos of my oldest like in the exact same position, I printed all 7 of them.
I have nothing to say.
So, but I'm just saying, like, he definitely just does not, he's not treated the same as the older one was. Because I don't have the time, I don't have the energy. I'm fucking tired.
They don't care. That's not an excuse.
I know, but I always think like when he's older, is he gonna be like, where's all mine? I feel like I need to get rid of Jake's because
I don't think so.
I'm never gonna make that commitment to going back and doing it for the other ones.
I think my family felt bad about how my mom was like if you ask. Oh, and before I keep going, they want to know if you portaled Andrea because.
Oh shit! Is it time? Oh god, it is time. Hold on. No, let me go. Let me go portal. Yeah, she set me up so I can. Yeah, I did it yesterday.
Oh, good. Okay, so but I think my family felt bad because like if you would ask anybody, even not my family, if you would ask anybody like how my mom was with me. First of all, my mom thought I was going to be a boy, so
I was supposed to be a boy.
Did they? My name was going to be Nicholas, and so that's
William. My name was going to be William Travis.
Well, as soon as I popped out, she's like, "That can't be a Nicholas." So, like, what are we gonna do? And I guess my uncle was like, "How about Nicole?" And she's like, "Sure, we'll go with that." So, like,
let's just go.
There was
that
no
sounds
thought.
Good.
Yeah. So there was no thought like to having a girl. So she was like tickled. So anybody will tell you, like, my mom, I was always dressed impeccably. My hair was always done. I always had a bow. Like my mom went above and I was like a doll baby. And and then like 5.5 years later, I guess my brother's born, and it was a little different. So like my family like came in, stepped in, and like then my brother suddenly became the prince. So he got some of my family members. So like my uncle, I was his only niece that ever lived with him. So he would always say that I was his favorite niece that used to live with him. And it was like always so sweet. But then it's like, but I was the only one that ever lived with him. So my mom's like, no, it's just he's trying to be nice. You know, you're just your favorite niece, obviously. But then like we got older and like he would buy season tickets to go to Phillies games and Flyers games. Like, but I never got to go. My brother, on the other hand, got to go to everything. Everything.
Well, in fairness, like I'd never been to an NFL game. My oldest brother, number 1 child, they had season passes to go.
Why are we trading? Like, okay, so you kept me clean and dressed me well, so like my brother gets to go to like $100 a seat a games.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sounds reasonable.
Yeah. But I mean, here's another thing is when my 2 oldest, so the 2 got this one. When my 2 oldest were younger, we had Disneyland passes, and so we go to Disneyland all the time. My youngest, who's going to be 8 here in December, has never been to Disneyland.
Wait, December what?
December 16th.
Oh, my birthday's in December. I'll be 73.
Julie, you do not even send me any type of freaking super chats. Oh, that's very cool. That makes me happy. I'm glad that all works. See, tides maybe are changing. I hope so. I doubt everybody's tide can change because some people are so stuck. But it's nice to know that it is coming to fruition. Like if you guys remember, like at the very beginning, there was a huge issue with like the line cutting, and there was a couple people who ended up not getting in because other people went and got in line that weren't technically in line, and so it kind of screwed up the whole count. And
Richard, mine is the 5th.
Oh, December 6th.
Yeah, mine's the 5th.
My mom is the 19th.
And your kid's the 16th.
My kid's the 16th. My
You have a
sister-in-law is
busy
the 17th.
December. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
we didn't have a big December. We only had 2, which was my mom and my niece. And then now when I got married, I got my sister-in-law thrown in there. And then my other sister-in-law went and had a baby on the 23rd. So now December became a busy month. September was normally my busiest one.
Oh my God. And Christmas in December.
Which makes it hard because that's another thing that he lacks is like having the huge, like giant birthday parties that like I'm able to throw the other kids because it's in the summertime. But like you're preparing for Christmas, how do you throw like a big birthday party at the same time?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. All right, so I'm going to end this so we can all portal over to Andrea. But thank you, Sluthy. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, amazing people in chat. Francis never got to come up and say his piece. So we'll have to plan that. I did not get to do the recap of the week.
Oh, we're working on that. I did a lot today.
Yeah, Sluthy's been working her butt off. She sends me like 3 and I send her 1. I'm like, here you go.
I'm like, oh, thanks for doing Sarah, but can you move the fuck on? Because like I don't want to do the bullet people yesterday. I'll do literally all.
I don't want to do the
that
bullet
one lady
people yesterday either. I don't want to do that either. Like I don't want to. Don't make me do that. I'll go back and do Cecil.
I'm just gonna write not a match.
Not a match. It's subjective. Subjective. That's it. That's what we ended with. Subjective. I'm like, I don't think I could handle. I don't know. Maybe I haven't listened to Andrea's from last night, so maybe she did a good job of making it more entertaining.
No, it's boring. It's just boring no matter what. It's boring, boring, boring.
Oh, I don't want to do it. All right. Well, I'll see you guys over at Andrea's.
Maybe nobody notice.
What?
So let's just skip it. Maybe nobody will notice.
We're just like unspent round testimony. That's all we put in the notes. It's just like boom.
I'll link you to like other people talking about it. They can do it.
All right. All right. No, you
All
don't
right,
have to
go to Andrea's.
link. As soon as this live ends, it's going to portal you straight over to Andrea's. So I will see you guys over there. Go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a good one. Thank you guys for being here.
Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown. Down the rabbit hole. Where it stops, no one knows. We're going Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.